Okay, JMI.
I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but I think there is a bearish divergence.
Well, I'm not sure on as far as bearish divergence, but looking at the chart, I would say the probability of it being bearish is higher than it being bullish.
As I'm looking at the 1 hour chart, and the stochastic RSI is over oversold, but the RSI is showing like 66 on the hourly.
I mean, it could have a little bit more room to the top before it comes down. It looks like I mean, so it still has a lot of volume, somewhat. I mean, it did like a pretty big one here. Looks like 22 million roughly. But then the next one after that was 7 million. So it's slowing
So,
down for sure.
what time frame do you watch charts on?
I do 30, 60, and 180 days. The 30 and the 60 are 1 hour candles. The 180 is a 4 hour candle.
Then the last candle on the 4 hour chart, is that a bullish engulfing?
Um, no. So when you look at engulfing candles, the one that's doing the engulfing is a different color than the one that it's actually engulfing. So when you look at engulfing, you're thinking, or you should be thinking, there was a red one and then it's changing into a green one, and the green one is going to quote unquote engulf that previous red one. There's nothing but green here on my chart.
Yeah, it's just showing a red thin line.
Yeah, I don't see any. What time frame are you looking at?
I was looking at the 4 hour, but then it looks like the last candle was like a very thin red line, so I might have got that mistaken with the previous candle.
Yeah, I'm on the 184 hour, and I don't see any red. I just see all green. I mean, obviously, if I go further in, it's gonna change. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see any engulfing candles here.
Okay, okay.
Let me go further in. I mean, if anything, it was a red engulfing right here. If you are you watching my screen or looking at my screen?
Yes, sir.
This big red one's an engulfing. Well, sorry, it's not. Um, the previous candle must be a different color to make the next one engulfing, and the engulfing candle must be larger than the whole entire candle or majority of the previous candle. So an engulfing candle must be different. So let's just say, for example, um,
Yeah, because
this
I'm looking at TradingView, and this chart looks a lot different than yours. Does TradingView lag?
could be because I'm not seeing any kind of engulfing whatsoever here.
Yeah, I don't see it on your chart either.
Maybe you got delayed data on TradingView.
I think that's what it is.
Could be. But basically, an engulfing candle is you got a green one, and the next following on a red one is going to be larger than that
Right,
green one, and it's going to basically like eat it up.
right, right.
That's a candle reversal, potentially. Usually.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the, I mean, because I have a couple of puts on him just because I thought, it might reverse in the near future. I have long expiration, so I'm not really too worried. But if it breaks up past 25.50, I should, and it holds there, I should probably just cut losses, right?
Well,
25.80.
I think that if you have time on something and you've got puts, when did you buy puts? Where was the stock price at?
It was around. It was around like I would say like 24, 40, 50-ish.
I think it's got potential to fall. Um,
I'll
maybe
just put.
down to 22 area.
Oh, that would be very nice.
I mean, because you got to look. So it's
It
it's
hasn't made a higher,
pumped
huh?
the past 4 days, or let's see,
Uh-huh.
1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 days.
Right.
The last day, it showed a lot of bearishness, even though it still went up. The sellers and the bears are coming into this. It looks like. I mean, this one, what is this? I guess this is a 1 hour volume chart bar, and it has the most um, share selling pressure compared to all the other ones, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the past 3 days before that, it was mostly green. Even this day was mostly green, and if I go to the 180 4 hour, it still shows this day as a green day, right? But
Yeah.
you see this right here is where you got all that red.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's still a little bit more buyers than sellers as far as this 4 hour candle goes.
So
So
it's going to collapse eventually, right?
it's basically half a day. There's a little bit more buyers than sellers.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
can you guys please mute your mics if you're not talking? Just give me a second. Just gonna mute all these people that haven't muted themselves. I'm not even sure who's making noise. Okay, so this candle, even though it's still green, it's got a lot of selling pressure, right? So I mean, it's the wicks.
Don't get me wrong, I know I'm ugly.
This could be almost considered a doji.
That's no prize either.
Mm.
Not quite. So a doji, the best doji is going to be just a little hash mark right in the center, right? But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's still seeing slightly more buying pressure than selling pressure. However, buying has fallen off, and I think we're going to see additional selling pressure start moving in.
Just looking at the RSI too, I just feel like there's like some sort of bearish divergence, making a higher high on the price and a lower high on the RSI.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't use the RSI, so I can't tell you,
Mm-hmm.
based off of what you're looking at. What I can tell you is, so again, look at the price action and the volume, right? Volume's picking up. Price action is starting to get very volatile,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So let me just scoot this over. So you can see here, this volatility is very extreme, more extreme than the rest of the days, right? So to me, that tells me that people are starting to take profits and shorters are coming in. And that's going to increase as time goes by. I don't know anything about this company, so I can't tell you why it pumped. But what I can say is that nothing ever continues to go up. There's always some pullback somewhere.
Right. And even in the past, it's shown to have dumped pretty hard once it rises up like a lot.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, especially here. And that's kind of where it's at, right? I mean, if you look at this time it pumped, looks like you've got, all right, so let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really big candles, right? And then this one's got 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I could consider this one 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I could say 5 because that's kind of the same size as this candle here. Right, so I would expect to see some kind of reversal here. Now, will it fall like this? I don't know.
Right.
But at least it's going to come down. It's going to do some kind of retracement, and it's going to be a significant one.
And has some sort of support.
Yeah, it's going to create a support level for sure. And then it's probably going to do something like this right here where it did another pump. But again, I don't know what's making it go up, so I can't tell you for sure.
I appreciate your feedback, but it is looking like it's getting up there, right?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, it could have another really pump day, right? It could pump to 27.
Right.
You know, but if you've got time on puts, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Let the time. You know, I mean, how far out is your position?
I think my contracts are on December 18th. I don't know if that's a lot of time or
I think it's enough time.
To see a retracement.
Yeah.
And I'm not too far off. I'm in the mid 24s. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got time, and like I said, you know, it's been pumping hard, so there's gonna be people that take profit, 100%.
Right.
I'd say majority of the people that get into some of these stocks or in the market itself, they're not long-term holders. You know, a lot of them are going to get in, see profits, and get out. You know? So, especially experienced people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Who's next with questions?
Are you expecting a bearish week this upcoming week, Hostile?
Hard to say. Let me just look at the SPY real quick. I don't know. I think maybe we could see some green here.
On the road in the history of the
Because it looks like last week we had some retracement on the SPY. Hard to say. This week is a tricky week. I think historically, Thanksgiving week is kind of a neutral week. Although I've seen it go green, I've seen it go red. So I mean, tough one. There's no way to really determine what it's going to do. It's better just to wait it out and see what actually happens. Remember, don't try to beat the market. Play the market.
I bought some March 19th long calls on SPY Friday, so that's why I asked.
What's up, mamas?
Well, you definitely got plenty of time, so that's good.
That's all I had. I was just seeing what you thought.
Okay. I mean, the SPY has pumped 322 to 366. I mean, I'm gonna continue to stick to what I've said before as far as bullish, bearish, and neutral months. November, December, and January are bullish. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see 400 on the SPY in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I wouldn't be
It'd be
surprised.
nice.
I can't say that it will happen, but I wouldn't be surprised.
It looks like it's scared of that 360 range. It's scared to break out of there.
Well, let's see. Well, it broke through it a couple of times. So that tells me that it's definitely testing it.
That and seems like every time Nasdaq gets to about like 12K, that's when people start selling again.
Yeah, it's the thing that really drives the market is going to be big money. All right. So once the hedge funds and the banks and all these other really rich investment firms and investors and whatever you have, once they start putting money into the market towards a certain direction, you're going to see it breaking highs or resistance levels rather. So like, the 360, I mean, again, we've got this level right here. Just draw it out. This is 360, right? And if I zoom in, it's broken it once, fell through it, came back up again, fell through it. Right? But I want you to notice something here that's really key. The lows after it made the high, and then it pumped back over that resistance level. It didn't create a higher high, but it created higher lows. Right, so that to me is a bullish. It's not strong, but I would anticipate seeing this jump back over 360 again. What needs to happen for this to become even more bullish is for it to break this resistance level. Right? It's got to break this. And it just adds strength towards that direction. If it breaks through it and then falls back below it again, it's still bullish. But if it breaks through it and stays above it, so let's say it stays in like the 364 area or 365, that's going to be a bullish direction. So that's key here, is it has to stay above certain levels. If it continues to test them, what you got to look for is higher lows and or higher highs. Well, honestly, the higher lows first, but if you get higher highs, that makes it stronger in the bullish direction. But at least with trend, if you're getting higher lows, you still know the trend is up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing that happened with Tesla that we were talking about, and it happened to pump on that S&P news.
Oh, it was just waiting for something to break out.
Oh yeah.
Because I mean, it was. When you see here, this is what I'm talking about, right? Same exact concept. Let me just draw a circle on this too. All right, so back when it did its split, it hit a high and then came down really low. And then it pumped back up, and then once it came back down, it created a new low, but it's higher than the previous. Same thing, goes up, kind of does some stuff, falls back down, creates a new low, but it's higher than the previous low. Right? Same thing, pumps up, falls again, creates a new low, but it's still higher than the previous, and then it rips. All right, so we're going to continue to see this. I think Tesla's going to most certainly test its high. I have no reason to believe that it won't, especially the level that it's at right now. There's no resistance until it gets to 538. And another thing that I'm noticing on the chart here is the volume is shrinking in selling pressure. All right, so if you look down here, you can see the volume is shrinking. It's going down. So that's a good indicator that we're probably going to see another green day tomorrow. I think this whole week, at least 2 out of 3 days, I think we're going to see green on Tesla. It's going to test 538 in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I sure hope it does, because I'm going to unload a couple of shares while it's up there. I'm actually hoping that Tesla breaks 538 and goes to 600. I wouldn't be surprised if it did something like that. Last year at this time, Tesla went from 390 to 915 by January. So I wouldn't be surprised for a second to see Tesla do something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's still a lot of people that have shares at like 550 when it pumped after the split.
Probably. I would have averaged down if I were them. 550, whew. Well, 538 is the high. So it's probably that number or somewhere around that 500 maybe.
Was the first guys that ever bought the stock. Public, a lot of people, and these people
All right. Who else has questions?
employees, high executives.
If there's new people in here, please don't hesitate to ask a question that you think is noobish.
Hey, Hostile.
Hey.
Hey, this professor. Hey, I've got somebody that's DMing me. Can you high level cover support and resistance?
Okay. Who is it? Are they in here?
Yes, NFG Blaze.
Okay. So this red line right here, this horizontal line, that's a resistance line. This is going to be support. This is going to be support. This is going to be support. This is support. Those are all strong support levels. This resistance line that I have drawn here, it's kind of more of a 180-day line. So when I go further out, you'll be able to see what I mean. Here, so you can see the resistance line that I drew here that's kind of averaged out. If you guys are not talking, please mute your mics.
Hey, is my mic on?
Yes.
How do I even? What? Oh, okay. I can mute my mic.
Okay. You guys don't have to be shy here. Just ask questions. It's fine. I bet you there's other people with the same question.
You're in the money at $400.
How do you see Amazon for this coming up week?
I think we'll see some movement on upwards on Amazon. I mean, it's got this trend line here that it keeps bouncing off of. And I drew this a little while back, maybe a week or two, something like that. And it's been, actually, I think I drew it right when it was here. Let's see. So about a week and a half ago, I drew this line. And you can see it looks like it's actually probably consolidating here. So I would expect some upward movement out of Amazon soon, I think.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So when you're making a trend line, how far do you usually go back?
So I'll go to the 180 day, and then I'll go to like the strong support. So it's kind of, how do I say it? It's kind of there's no real right or wrong way to do it. So let's just do this. I'll pick something else and draw out a trend.
What?
Do you think you could do one for Neo?
For what is it? Neo?
Yeah.
So the best way I think I could describe trend is to try to incorporate everything like this. So I would start here and then I would kind of do this. Right? I can't start here because it's going to cross over this one area, right? So the best way to do trend is to start as far back as you can where you can get everything above that trend line, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Let's see. Apple. Let me clear this. So this one's a little bit tougher to draw. Something like that. Or start here.
So the trend line that doesn't necessarily have to be like vertical. It can be like horizontal.
Yeah, I mean, like this horizontal one, it's almost horizontal. This kind of indicates neutrality. Right? So like this one that I just drew, it's a little bit more upward. If Apple breaks through that, we know it's still neutral. But if it pumps, and then if it pumps back off of this point, and then starts to come back down and bounce off of it, that's the thing is what you're trying to find out here is which trend line is it going to bounce off of.
Okay.
So I think long term, it's slightly bullish. Long term, if I could draw this all the way out to another year, I would be willing to bet it's never going to go below this line.
Okay.
I think it would be very likely for it to bounce off of this trend line. Let's see. Let me see if I can find a better.
And then the support lines are the ones that are hitting the bottom. And then if they're going to be positive support lines, it's gonna be bullish, correct?
What do you mean positive support lines?
So you were saying the support lines are the ones on the bottom, right? That are hitting the bottom.
Yes. So this is another example is the Bank of America. These 3 lines here that I have drawn are support lines. And you can see that it kind of intersects with multiple areas.
For you, the Shelby Company Limited insists.
I forgot what I was saying. Oh, you can see how a lot of these support levels bounce off of this line, like this one here. I mean, you've got multiple areas where it bounces, like right here. You know, obviously this one, and this one. This one right here at $20 is a really strong one. You can see multiple wicks bouncing off of it. And you see a really, really strong one right here. And this one right here is really, really strong.
And then it just pumped up. Okay.
Yeah, and same concept with resistance levels. Can you guys please mute your mics if you're not talking? Was that all? Did you have any more questions? Is it FG?
What do you see happening with Virgin Galactic?
Probably a pullback. It had a really good few days. So, I mean, actually, it is doing some pullback. The thing about Virgin Galactic is when it has a big pump, it typically has a pretty decent dump behind it. So I think what we're seeing right now is something similar to this one. So you'll probably see it pump some more, potentially test that $27 area, right? Or at least 26.5, and then it's going to have a dump. That's the thing with Virgin is it always does stuff like that. I consistently see this thing doing very extremely volatile moves.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Who else has questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
When should you sell options?
Are you talking about to open a position?
Yes.
So the general rule of thumb on that is options sell when implied volatility is high.
Okay.
That's about as simple as it gets. If you don't know how to sell options, I recommend you do a lot of research because it's not simple.
Okay.
So you can definitely lose your money, and I don't want you guys losing your money.
So I got a question for you about how do you think Delta is going to do over the next week or two?
Airlines?
Yes.
That's a tough one. This one's really, really touchy because of COVID. You know, we've got vaccines coming, but we also have more shutdowns happening. We got more infections supposedly, so that's a tough one. It could go either way, to be honest with you. I mean, it's in an upward trend. Not very much. Let's see. See, this one's hard to draw a trend line on. So I mean, I could start at the very low, the lowest low here, and then do something like this, right? I could also start right here at recently pumped, but I don't think that's a good way to look at it. I think it's best to try and go as far back as you can to the lowest low, and if you can get the whole entire stock price movement above that line, that trend line, you want to intersect it across the nearest low, if that makes sense.
All right. Well, thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
What about Netflix?
It's kind of in neutral territory, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just kind of pumps and dumps, pumps and dumps, pumps and dumps. I mean, it looks like it's range bound between the support line of 466 up to this area right here. Matter of fact, let me clean this up. I got a lot of analysis that I did here. So there's support, there's resistance. So it's pretty range bound between these two numbers. I mean, I'm thinking it's going to probably start moving up. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the thing about Netflix is it does run-ups when it comes to earnings as well. And we're kind of like, let's see, when's the next earnings for? So 10 January is going to be the next earnings for this, it looks like. Let me just double check that. Yeah. So what I anticipate with Netflix is, looks like we're kind of a third of the way in. So, I mean, this is a third of the way in. This is about a third of the way in. So I think we're going to see it do some upward movement.
Can I bait first since I took one?
Maybe buy some 2 to 3 month contracts and play that ER run up maybe in January. So like maybe by December. And I think it's a pretty, I mean, it's obvious, right? You can see what's going on here. But it's not to say that it won't fall below this line or go above that one, right? So, but as it looks, this is a good swing stock, to be honest. Buy shares down here when it touches 466 area, and then sell it when it hits, you know, somewhere up here, $500, 520. It's probably a good exit area. Okay. Who else has questions?
Do you ever look at VIX, the volatile index?
I don't.
No.
Nah.
Okay. I also wanted to maybe take a look at NKLA.
Ew. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, to be honest.
No.
Yeah, I think it's too risky right now. I mean, Nikola was really hardcore pumped when it first had its merge and all that, but it's just been getting crushed since. And
yeah,
I don't know. It's not something I would touch.
Water. So ask him like.
Hey, I got one more question for you. How do you think Lowe's is going to perform over the next like month or two?
It's in a downtrend. Looks like. I see this. Probably even cross over there. It's in a downtrend for sure. It's broken lows. No pun intended. It's broken through 153 area, which was a solid support. So I see this falling further. I mean, this is a seasonal company in my opinion. Not too many people are going to be gardening in the wintertime.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of construction that goes on in winter. So I don't know, Professor, are you still in here?
Yeah.
How's sales at Lowe's during November, December, January?
It's slower, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. So my assumption is correct.
So when do you think it'll, or how low do you think it'll go to realistically?
I don't know. There's no real strong support anywhere except for this area that it went through. So I think it's just going to slowly trend downward for the next 3 to 4 months, to be honest with you. I mean, Professor, when do you see sales pick up? Like February, March?
Yep. Peak season starts late February, early March, and it just cranks after that.
Okay.
I mean, we're still seeing a lot of volume. I mean, I'm actually walking my car from my store right now. I'm tired as hell. We got our asses kicked today. I mean, so sales are still good, but I just don't see it. Kind of goes with temperature. I mean, they can move inside and start doing stuff inside, as it gets colder. But there's not as much money, inside that there is outside, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Who else has questions?
Yeah, I've got a question about how to use the. Oh, my bad. How do I use the AI alert scalps?
Let me just go to that channel real quick. Where did it go? Oh, okay. So the way I would use this is quick entries and exits. Right? I wouldn't hold anything longer than. This is one of those where you get in, you see $10 or $20, you get out. Right? If you get 10 contracts, you got $200. Right? So that's how I've actually played this a few times, and I got in and out as quick as I could. If you do not get into this position, so like let's say for example, if you're looking at the channel, last alert was run. If you don't get into that within a minute of it posting, it's too late.
Okay.
Honestly, 30 seconds. So the way I would suggest you play this is to watch the channel, and when that bot throws something up, you get in as quick as you can. Because every time, so Friday, I got into 3 positions within 15 seconds or 20 seconds of its alert. Every one of them within 5 minutes was up, and I made $20 or so off of every one of them. So you got to get in and out quickly. If you don't get in quick, you're going to miss the move up. If you don't get out quick, you're going to miss that money that you've made.
Cool. So I pretty much just get like a call or a put that's close to the money with like a weekly expiration and just like really just play it really fast?
Yes. I
Okay,
wouldn't
cool.
touch puts. I would only do calls.
Uh-huh.
I've done some testing on the put side for some of this, and it's just something's weird about it. So I don't have confidence in the put side just yet. But the calls, they all do very well.
Okay,
Not
cool.
too many haven't. Like
Mhm.
so I got into Snap, Baba, and Twilio. Every one of them printed for me,
Okay.
and it was within
That
3 to
is
5 minutes.
okay, so they're like really fast.
Oh yeah, quick, very quick.
Okay. Okay, cool. I really appreciate the answer. Thank you.
You're welcome. Remember, 5% of your portfolio only. Don't do more than that. This is a dangerous way to play.
Mm.
But if your 5% is $1,000, have at it. That's more money, right?
Yeah.
But if 5%'s, 500 bucks, you're going to be a little bit limited to a couple of these plays. I mean, so Snap, Baba, and Twilio, I got into positions for about $100 each. One was 90, one was
Mhm.
105. I think one was like 98, something like that. I tried to choose something with really good open interest that it was as close to at the money as possible. Bava, I had to go a little bit further out of the money because it got up to like $1,000 at the money or 1,500 or something like that. I just wasn't willing to pay that much money for something. It's a little too much risk for me right now in that
Mhm.
scenario. But $100 to $500, I'm okay with. So that's kind of where the mindset of that. If you can get into it quickly and the price that you're paying is a fair price to you, do it. And as long as the open interest is there, go for it. But you have to be really fast.
Mhm.
This is probably as quick as you need to be with Tilio as well. Now with
Yeah.
Tilio's stuff, I think his have more time to run. This quantum data bot, it'll tell you, it'll alert you to get into something, and within 10 minutes, it's dropped. So let's say for example, the price is at $60 or something, and it pumps to 62.5 in 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes, it might start dropping it, and within 15 minutes, it might be at 58. Right, so it's
Mhm.
really
Okay.
fast and dangerous. But if you can time it really perfectly and get in and out, you can make money for sure. It's one of those like you've got to get in fast and out fast, and it doesn't matter like $10, $20, $30, it doesn't matter. Take it.
Mhm. Do you usually set a market order when you buy those contracts, or do you use a limit?
So the way I do it, and I haven't had any issue so far, is
Mhm.
for example, if you're looking at are you looking at my screen right now?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, so let's just say, for example, I click on this buy order. Whatever the price that pops
Mhm.
up is what I'll enter in with. It's a limit price, but whatever the price that pops up, I just hit confirm and send, and every time
Mhm.
it's entered instantly. So that's why I always say you go for the high open interest. In this scenario with Quantum Data Bot, you want something with at least 1,000 open interest.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I really appreciate all that. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Okay. Who else has questions? If any of you are server muted, at me in after hours or one of the chats if you want to talk, and I'll unserver mute you.
Hey, hostile.
I have a question.
Ooh, two of you.
Never mind. Go ahead. You go
Oh,
first.
go ahead. No, you can go ahead. Hey, how's I wonder how's Apple looking for this week? I'm sorry if someone asked the question already. I kind of just got on. I got a couple calls on it. I just want to know should I dump it or should I just hold on till like Wednesday? Because I know it's a short week.
What's your expiration?
Friday. This Friday, Black Friday.
I would probably get out of that with whatever you got. If it doesn't pump tomorrow, I mean, you're playing a really risky game on during this week.
Okay.
I would like to see it pump, but doesn't matter what I would like.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think we're gonna see red though, to be honest. It's gonna create a higher low, probably this week. And then after Black Friday, going into the last week of November, first week of December, it'll start going back up again. Who was the second gentleman that had a question?
How does Snap look for this week?
Snap. I don't know. Some red maybe. Is it a high? Looks like it might be actually creating some kind of range here. Looks like it could be range area. I mean, Snap gets into this situation where it creates a high, creates a low, and then it just travels between it. I don't really have any other information on it other than that. I couldn't tell you what it's going to do this week. Okay. Who else has questions?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So, what? How do you know when to exit a trade?
When you have profit?
Yeah, no, I understand, but like, if it's not going your way, I mean, like, do you usually like just, put like a stop loss to it, or just exit the trade? I mean, like, how does that go?
Well, I think you should ask yourself what you're willing to lose before you even get into the trade. If you lose that, that's when it's time to get out. So you need to establish what you're willing to lose before you get in. That way, there's no question if you do get to that loss, it's time to get out. Right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I have a question.
Okay.
What's your opinion on Lee for tomorrow?
On what?
Lee.
What's the ticker symbol?
LI.
Was this a Chinese EV? I don't know anything about the stock. I've never seen it before.
LI Auto INC.
Yeah, I don't know very much about it. It's at a high, but it also doesn't have any kind of history. So there's not much I can tell you off the chart.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm a late caller, sorry, but is there going to be any guidance on INTC since Auger Myers is gone?
So with Intel, I think long term, I'm not liking the stock. I wouldn't play bullish positions on this until it creates some sort of reason for people to want to start getting behind Intel again. So Intel processors, well, Intel itself is losing business. I think it lost Apple, it lost Tesla. NVIDIA stopped using them, and now NVIDIA is creating their own chips. AMD has surpassed them as far as stock price, but also their AMD processors are equally as good for less price. There's another caveat. Intel, they perform well on single applications or like video games. AMD performs well with multiple applications or virtual machines. So there's more market share in big business for AMD than there is for Intel. Intel's more desktop user, laptops, personal computers. AMD is more data center driven, more mainly data center. Like, here's an example. There's a system called a Cisco UCS chassis box, and it's got, I don't know, think of it as a desktop computer times 10 or times 5. There's 5 of them inside or 10 of them inside. So you've got multiple video cards, you got multiple processors, you got multiple RAM slots. Cisco UCS chassis have been going AMD. And the reason for that is Cisco UCS chassis utilize an operating system called ESX. ESX is a virtualization operating system, which basically means you can run multiple virtual machines on this ESX operating system, and to run it at its peak performance, AMD does that very well. Intel does it poorly. So data centers are where it's at for AMD. Intel is more retail users like yourself and me. However, when you look at the pricing of the processor from Intel and the processor from AMD, the ones that run relatively the same speed, give or take a few benchmark numbers, the price for AMD is like $150 cheaper. So like $600 Intel processor is $450 for AMD. I don't like Intel. I think it's going to continue down.
Okay.
So if you
Thank you
see
very
it,
much.
you're welcome. If you see it get to say $50 and it's near earnings, that could be a good put play. Because I mean, you see what happened. The last 2 earnings, it's got crushed. It got crushed. And I don't see any reason for it to not get crushed again. And if I look, let's see if I can go. So right now it's at its 43.61 is its all-time low in 1 year. So let's see, 3 years. Okay, so 3 years, it's got some support. Right there. And that's 44.70. Now, if it breaks below that, we're looking at 40. Shit. Let's go to the 5-year. It didn't have too much more support under 40. Well, 42.25 is about the last support level before it gets crushed down to 35 area. And I personally, I don't know. I mean, the downtrend is strong. It's there, and every time it has a drop, it does a big one. It's not like it's slowing down. It's not like the loss is slowing. It's continuing in the same speed or maybe a little bit more. So I don't like Intel, and I would stay away from it in a bullish position for now.
Okay.
I think we can look at GE.
Another shitty company. Let's see.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we finally broke $10. I expect GE to start falling. It's at third standard deviation channel. There's no reason for this thing to keep going up. I mean, do you know why it went up in the first place?
No.
Me either. So there's no reason that it went up. I mean, the thing about GE is they've been trying to restructure the business for a while. They've sold off a lot of their the markets they're in, so they have multiple business initiatives where they make money, right? And they've sold off quite a few of them. I think they only have the main ones left. Like, I still think they're doing engines for airplanes,
Okay.
electricity type stuff. You know, what is GE known for? You know, washers and dryers, refrigerators, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I still see them doing that, but they sold off a lot of their other things that they were trying to be innovative with.
Okay.
And they tried to build capital with it, and they're just getting a lot of market share loss. So
Okay.
I see it coming down, to be honest.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Hostile, what's your opinion on fuel cell?
On fuel cell?
Yeah,
What's the ticker for that, or are you just talking about in general?
FCEL.
Oh, I'm sorry. What is it again?
FCEL.
FCEO.
L.
Oh, FC. Oh, FCell. Okay. This is another tricky one in my opinion. This has a lot to do with batteries.
Yeah, it's hydrogen powered cars, kind of.
Oh, is it? It's specific to hydrogen powered?
Yeah.
I don't see that being too strong. I mean, who's using hydrogen besides Nikola, whom doesn't have vehicles on the road or even in production? Who else is using hydrogen is the question. I don't
As
know
a
of
lot
anybody.
of car companies are adapting to this hydrogen. I read that I think Toyota, Lexus, a lot of other car companies are going to start having cars of that kind. So, like, I was wondering, like, what do you think about it?
Well, if they're going to start doing it, number one thing you have to really think about is how long is it going to take for them to implement? And number two, how much are they going to charge for the cars? But that doesn't even really matter. What matters is from now until the point that they're actually going to start implementing this, right? If they say they're going to do something, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do it either. So I think what the price that you're seeing right now is just a what do you call it? Like a hype. I don't see this going higher. I mean, again, there's no vehicles on the road right now using hydrogen. You know what I mean?
There's a
So,
couple. It's just it's not a lot right now.
yeah, I don't even know of any of them. I mean, I know, I think there's like some city municipalities that are potentially using hydrogen, but they have their own production, their own fuel cell fueling. They have their own infrastructure, so it's all locally based and owned by the government, if you will. There's nothing out there like, so here's an example. Well, when Tesla started coming out, there weren't charging stations everywhere. There weren't any manufacturers making electric vehicles, for that matter. 10 years later, EVs just really starting to take off. There's charging stations in a decent amount of places. Right? It's still not like, gas stations on every corner, but within a 5-mile radius, you can, especially a major city, you'll find a charging station. Rural areas, I'd say 20 to 30 miles of a radius, you'll probably find a charging station. The only hydrogen charging stations I've heard of is in California and I think Nevada, maybe. But again, it's very local, so it's not like. So again, the future here is, yeah, there is definitely potential, but the current present time, this is hype.
All right. Yep. Thanks.
You're welcome. I also see buying pressure dying off. So if tomorrow is less than 72 million shares, if it doesn't breach that, it's going to continue to fall.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Who else has questions?
I got a question about PayPal for like no or January calls around 260.
Why 260?
Just hoping for a good push.
You saying that you're going to choose the 260 strike?
Yeah.
Why would you choose 260?
Because it was cheaper. Just hoping to get good push between now and then and just get some money out of it and cut early.
So you do know the theta decay is a lot more exponential further out of the money you go, right?
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. I don't know as far as where Tesla, PayPal is headed. Let me just see here. I mean, it looks like it's in an uptrend. I would recommend you draw some kind of trend line somewhere. Let's see. Let me go back to the 180. I don't like the 180. 190. Trend is up. Had a really big rip. Fell pretty hard, but stayed above support. Went up again. Continued to stay above its most recent strong support level. And I think we'll see it kind of fall a little bit more and then bounce up again. But it looks like it's having trouble getting past this 194 area right here. That spot right there. 194. It looks like it's having trouble getting past that. I don't see 260. That's way too aggressive. I mean, it's especially the fact that it's having trouble getting past this spot. Other thing is this 215 high, it created a lower high at this level right here, 209. I don't see it going past 209. So if you can get out of that position you're in with something profits wise, I would take it. $5 or $10.
Okay.
I don't personally see PayPal going that high. I mean, it could, but
Yeah, I was
there's
just
just
trying to get a little bit of profit out of it, just because it was so far out of the money. I just was hoping to go up a little bit, get some money out of it. Wasn't expecting much.
yeah, I would recommend you stay away from as far out of the money like that. You want to get as close to at the money as you can.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, who's next?
Hey, Hostile. Quick question for you on Intel. Going over it Monday, it looks like it's almost at its peak. You think analyzing it, because going over analyzing like we talked about last time, it looks okay, but it looks like it's at a possible decline.
No, it's not. I think it's going to
Okay.
continue up.
Okay. Like how many points do you think it's going to go up?
That I
Like
don't know, but I think it'll probably do very similar to what it did the last 3 months.
Okay.
So it'll build. It'll do something like I'll draw a rectangle so you can differentiate what I'm talking about here. I think it'll do something like that because it's kind of doing that right now.
Yeah.
Very similar.
And what time frame is that? Is that like per week or is that per couple days?
This is a 180 day
Okay.
4-hour chart or 4-hour time
Oh. Okay.
candles. And then it's going to have a fall, and then it's going to pump up until ER, and I think it'll get crushed again. I'm in Intel with shares, and
Yeah, I got in on that last algo call. I looked at it and I was like, okay, it looks legit. Analyzing it, like going through my P's and Q's, it looked good. So that's when I got in. But I just wanted a second opinion. Thanks, man.
you're welcome. I see it potentially hitting 48, 49, maybe.
Cool.
Maybe not that. Let's see. Hold on.
I think mine was like for 46.5. So we'll see what happens.
Let me do a Fibonacci on this. So 38.2. And then it did a 61. 38.2 and 61. Hold on, I gotta clean this up. It's hard to see what I'm doing. Well, let me see. Yeah, I still need to clean it up. So 47.25.
Okay.
And at best 49, 49.5, 49.80. I think we could see both.
Okay. So like play in between possibly? Like a median number in there?
What do you mean play in between? As in, enter
Like
in a
as
position?
in like between 47 and 49. Where I'm at is 46, I think 46 or 46.5. Maybe double check.
Oh, as far as where you think you're looking to get out?
Yeah. Just strategy wise.
Yeah, I mean, the sooner you get out, the better. And if you can get out with profits, even better. I don't like Intel. I think Intel is trash right now. So I had faith in them before earnings came out. Now I'm like, ugh, I want to get out of my shares.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I'm at 46.5.
Yeah, I mean, if you
So
can get out there with profits, I would say go for it.
okay.
Don't
All right.
wait.
Cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Have a good night.
You too. All right. Who's next?
Hey man, yeah. What are your thoughts on Amazon?
I think Amazon's gonna go up. I've already
Okay.
done an analysis on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I missed it.
That's fine. I think
Okay.
Amazon will go up.
Okay. So currently I'm holding a 3200 call expiry at Jan 15, 2021, but I'm already at like a 4.5 grand loss. So I'm just doesn't know whether should I hold it or like should I mean leave it for a loss. So
How much are you down, percent
uh
wise?
percent wise I was like just 22, I think.
22%. Holy crap!
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and you're down that much already?
Yeah,
Jesus.
that was so quick. Like after like you remember like last I think Tuesday Monday we got a news and like pharmacy something. It went to 3200 and then it crashed down to 3100. They like I bought it like around when it was at 3150 something. And then after like I got some time decay and then some 50 points down, so I was in already lost. But a lot of times like I lost. I mean I left with loss, but later immediately after I left it's bumped up. So this time I'm like controlling myself, but I still want to take advice from guys like you.
What's your expiration?
Jan 15, 2021.
Well, you still have time. What day did you get in?
Like just a minute. I'll give you clear details. Let me.
I don't need the specifics other than the actual
Oh,
date.
I think last Monday.
Okay, so 16th.
Bisa mo, mo.
Yes, I got this on 17, not 16. Sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
So you have time.
Uh-huh.
And you said what was your strike? 31?
3200.
32. And you got in
Yep.
at 3150 is the stock
Yes.
price that you got in. Okay.
Yep. And I spent was like around 16,150. Like
there's a
current.
lot. So this isn't going to help you necessarily what I'm about to say. But there's a lot of other plays out there that you
Okay.
could put money into.
Uh-huh.
And I wouldn't be doing Amazon. I wouldn't spend. So what's your portfolio size? Or if you don't want to answer that, how much percent of your portfolio was at 16,000?
Oh, it's almost like 40%.
So that's a mistake. You should never do more than 5%.
Okay.
Because now, I mean, think about it. You've lost. How much are you down right now?
4,500. Yep.
That's insane. That's an insane loss.
Yeah.
I mean,
This the huge loss I've ever seen, like, in my whole life.
So I never, ever, ever do more than 5%. 10% is okay if you have a small account and you're trying to build it up, but you have a
Okay.
decent sized account, it sounds like. So never do more than 5%.
Definitely, I will not do in future.
With that being said, I think, and I think we're going to see Amazon pump up
Okay.
soon. But
Okay.
it's in a downtrend. It almost looks like. Let me just see here. I mean, I drew this uptrend here, but if I go further back to the high, let me go to 1 year. draw that. See if I can do the bodies of these candles.
Mm-hmm.
It looks more of an uptrend.
Okay.
Just barely, though.
Oh,
I mean, look at the slope on both
yeah.
of these lines.
Yeah.
There is a downward slope, but there's also an upward slope. And the thing here is we're looking at lower highs and higher lows.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not confusing, I don't know what is. So typically the way I determine trend is higher highs, higher lows. That's
Yes.
bullish.
Yeah.
Or lower highs, lower lows. That's bearish. But this is
Yes.
doing lower highs and higher lows. So it's like it's converging on itself, and it's consolidating. It's not doing a lot of movement, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so the movement is shrinking.
Uh-huh.
I don't know which direction this is going to go.
Okay.
I think it will go up, and I think
Okay.
especially short term, we've got a lot
Mm-hmm.
of red in the short term here.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say if it touches this line here, it'll bounce off of it. And
Okay.
maybe it'll come back up to 3,200 area.
Got it.
Maybe. So you've got some resistance right here. That's going to be an issue to get through.
Mm-hmm.
Right, 3175, and then like let's say right here, right at 32. So you
Okay.
got these two resistance levels that are going to give you trouble.
Got it.
You do have some support right here at 3085, so you're not far from it, but another $15 loss off the stock price is going to hurt. It's going to look bad on your position.
Yeah.
It's
I
going to be
think
another
almost
1,000 probably.
exactly. That's what happened on this last Friday. It was exactly like 15 points down, and I was almost like $970 down.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it'll be a little bit more than that. It'll be like
12.
1,015 or something like
Yeah.
that for the same amount of loss, because state of
Exactly.
decay, you're gonna.
Yep. That's true.
What's the strike? And you said January 21, right?
Yes, January 21.
It's
Sorry, January
3,200.
15, 3,200.
So your theta decay is
Almost
140.
140. Yes.
Ouch. Yeah. So I think if you can get within a 5 to 10% loss, it's probably going to be a good time to take that.
Okay, sure. I'm ready to take the, like, at least like with 10%, I'm okay to take the loss.
I think you can probably get closer. I mean, like I said, you're going to get back above 3150.
Okay.
You've got support where it's at, right? So look at this.
Right.
You get a lot of support right here.
Yeah.
Let's do this. You get a lot of support there. You got some more right here.
Yep. Correct.
And where it's currently at is support.
Got it.
And you see how it's creating like almost like a wedge of candles?
Yeah, I see that.
Sometimes I see that and it bounces.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Got it.
It's not something that I can confidently say, yeah, when you see this, expect it to go up. No. I'm just saying that sometimes I see this type of pattern, this candle pattern, or this formation of candles where it does like a small red wedge, and the candles shrink. At some point, sometimes it usually turns green. So
okay.
Give it a little bit more time. I mean, again, you got till January. I'd say by December, so within a week or two, give yourself 2 weeks. I think you're going to see at least you might see some profit. Maybe.
Oh. Okay. Right
but
now,
when you do, get out.
Definitely, I will. Right now, I'm in a situation like, even if I would like to leave that at 10% loss, I'm fine. But profits, that's like kind of a my luck or something.
Well, here's the other thing is implied volatility or the
Yeah.
IV rank is at 34. So you've got a 66% chance of IV going up.
Okay. Cool.
So that's going to help you.
Okay.
So I don't think this is a losing position just yet.
Oh, okay. Yep.
But do me a favor, make sure you never do more than 5% again.
Definitely. I will never. This the first time I know I got the fear and everything. This never happened before to me, so I never gonna do this again.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if you're lucky, it's not going
Uh-huh.
to cost you to learn, right?
Got it.
If you're
Got
not
it.
lucky, it's going to cost you.
That's true. That's true.
Just think of it as an expensive lesson.
Definitely. Like almost like a whole week, I was always like in the midnight. I was watching the futures, like what's going on tomorrow. Oh my god! And then I couldn't get enough sleep. Also.
Well, don't watch futures either, because futures is misleading, and it's not gonna even if it's all green in futures,
Uh-huh.
market could open and it goes red. So
Oh yeah,
futures aren't a good way to use. They're not a good bearing on the market, in my opinion.
okay. Yeah. Sure, that's true. But thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey, Hostile, what do you think about Facebook?
It's kind of neutral, to be honest. So the bottom 244, the top's 307.
I was asking because I was thinking of selling. I have like 20 shares, and if it's not bullish, I was thinking of just cutting or just selling them and then buy something else.
Are you at a loss?
No, it's neutral. Not making any money, not losing anything.
Okay. Well, hard to say. It looks like it's in a slight uptrend. But where it's at, like, so let me just draw what I'm seeing. So this low right here. Then you get this high. So again, very similar to Amazon. It's not doing those higher lows and lower highs type thing. Well, let's see. Actually, it kind of is. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Too far. So the high here, lower high, the low here, the higher low. And it created higher lows here. And here's the tricky part, these two. It's testing below this low. So that kind of pushes it into a neutral position. Current stock price, if it breaks this trend line, it makes it the case stronger for the bears. I'm not going to say that it's bearish. It's got to break through this support level. First, it's got to break this one. 266, let's just say 264 and a half. Let's go in between. 264 and a half. It has to break through that. It breaks through 264 and a half. Its next point that it has to break for me to say bearish for sure is going to be under 260. It has potential to bounce. I think that it's I don't know, the trend lines are almost equal. I mean, the uptrend is a little bit better than the downtrend. It's just creating a lot of confusion or confusing points, if that makes sense. Because I'm not getting off this analysis, I'm not getting anything where I can look at it and say the trend is this direction. It's sideways, honestly, and I think it's doing some kind of a consolidation as well, very similar to Amazon.
Would you recommend I just sell and put my money towards something else?
Yeah, if you don't lose, yeah. I mean, a very small loss is okay too, because this is hard to tell which direction it's going. I wouldn't be comfortable sitting on a position with how this thing's moving. If it bounces tomorrow at open, definitely sell it, but that gives it more of a bullish stance. I don't think this is a good stock to be in at the moment, because again, when I look at the chart, I'm confused of which direction this thing wants to go. So I would get out if I were you.
All right, thanks.
Question.
Okay.
How do you feel about U.S. food stocks and U.S. food stock and a couple other food stocks due to COVID coming back?
I mean, it's tricky because there's vaccines coming. Pfizer, Moderna, Regeneron, AstraZeneca. They're all coming out saying they've got vaccines that are 90, 95% successful. So, you know, it's kind of that contention point where, oh yeah, COVID's spiking, but now we've got vaccines down the pipe, potentially. Herd immunity's growing. People are kind of getting to the point where they're like, I don't want to wear a mask anymore.
Pretty much, yeah.
Not everybody, obviously. There are still a bunch of people out there that wear masks, but I mean, myself included, I don't want to wear a damn mask anymore. I'm tired of wearing a mask. You know, just don't be sneezing on me or coughing on me and we're good. I won't be in a small enclosed place with other people. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be stupid. But at the same time, it's like, you know, when I go to the gym, they want you to wear a mask. And I'm like, how do people work out wearing a damn mask? I can't breathe in this thing. I don't know. I think COVID's a little bit blown out of proportion. I don't know if you guys saw Elon Musk talk about 4 tests he took and 2 came positive, 2 came negative. So I don't know what that's about. Kind of screams to me that something fishy is going on.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah. He tweeted about that.
Yeah, and it's like, well, wait a minute. Is the machine broken?
And it was instant test too. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, is the machine programmed to say half the people that take the test are sick? You know what I mean? Like, nobody's questioning this. Everybody's just saying, "Oh, COVID. Oh, we gotta lockdown. You know, we gotta do this or that. Do what the government says." Everybody's willing to give up their freedom because they're a little bit afraid. The reality is, what if a government or what if somebody out there is lying to us, right? It may not always be the government. It may not always be this or that, but I think the whole everything that you see, like I'll use an example of me at the gym. I'm on the treadmill, you know, just kind of warming up before I get to my exercises, and there's about 20 TVs in front of me, and all of them, to me, when I look at it, I see brainwashed. They're trying to brainwash me. Every single station is some
Damn
sort
right.
of brainwash. So that's just kind of how I see a lot of things, though. I question everything. Though. That's my mentality is I question everything I see because I know there's lies out there. I know there's manipulation and deception. 100% I know it is there. It's just a matter of sifting through all the garbage to find the truth. So that's why I question some of the validity of this whole COVID thing. Yeah, I do agree that it exists. I do agree that people have gotten sick and some have potentially died from it, but I think it's blown very far out of proportion than what reality actually is. Because if we look at the flu in general, just influenza itself, more people have died from it, more people have contracted it, but we didn't shut down the country because of it.
True. Okay.
So I guess to answer your question about food stuff, that's hard to say because there's no telling. If they come out with if Moderna, for example, comes out next week and says our vaccine is 100% now, we can start pushing it. Then what happens? Does
Okay.
lockdowns disappear? You know what I mean? Like
True. Yeah. Yeah.
when I went to a restaurant today, it was packed. You know what I mean? I'm in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. The restaurant was packed. There was barely like when we walked in, we got the last table that was available. Everything else was packed, and I'm talking like, yeah, they do have their COVID stuff in place, but it was still like I was surprised to see as many people as I did. And lately, it's kind of been like that. Like when I went to the gym today, there was more people than I expected to see. So I think people are getting tired of it, and I think that you know food's always going to be there. It's always going to be something that's people want, right? It's we need it. Um, I think it might go neutral as far as stocks go.
Okay. Because I was looking at U.S. Foods. They had a big jump from like 25 to 30,
What's
and
the
I was
ticker?
USFD.
Do you know why they jumped?
No idea.
So here's another thing doesn't make any sense to me. Estimated earnings 19.7 cents. Actual 15. But yet it went up. Okay, doesn't make any sense to me. So U.S. Foods, they supply restaurants.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something hiding in that, right?
Yeah. I was thinking about a put around like 25.
Well, number one, I would try to get as close as you can to add the money, but well, I mean, it's pretty cheap. There's a ton of open interest, so that's not a bad choice as far as the strike. But let me do a fib on this. I think it's bullish because you see right here, it bounced off 50%.
Mm.
So this is another one where I'd say let it play out some more before you go for a put. I mean, you could get a couple, right? I mean, it's cheap. Don't get me wrong. You could probably spend $100 on it, or 100, like get 4 contracts for $120. Not the end of the world unless your account's $500.
Okay.
I mean, you could make it a lotto. Wouldn't hurt. I mean, $30, and there's more open interest on the put side than the call side. So that's also something to take note of. Um, it's cheap.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, oh, what's your account size? Or is this
About
5%?
1,500. Just 1,500. Nothing crazy.
Okay, so I mean, 2 to 4 contracts ain't gonna kill you if you lose them.
Yeah.
And you are
Okay.
looking at December 18th, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go heavy. Definitely, 2 or 3 is fine. That's okay if you lose $90. Not the end of the world, like I said. And you can make that back. But if it does drop to 25, you can almost guarantee that's gonna be a 300 or 400% return or more, to be honest, because we're at what, 30? Yeah, so let's say the price is 25, the stock or the contract price is going to be relatively the same as it is at the $30 strike, which is 165. So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, that's at least a 500% return if it falls to 25. Falling to 25 is the next. I don't know if it's going to do that. So yeah,
Okay.
it's creating lower highs. That's good. Not very defined though. It's pretty weak actually, because if I draw from this, it's, you see what I mean here, like.
Okay.
But it's not the greatest point to draw from, this support level here. That's not the greatest because of this huge rip. But from the high down, that's more believable to me than this one, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
And just, yeah, like I said, get 2 or 3. If it pumps tomorrow, you're gonna be down $5 or $10, $15.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Who's next?
Hey, Hostile. I was just wondering, which of the vaccine plays do you think's the strongest, or is it just kind of a toss-up right now?
They're already pumped. So like mRNA is just pumped. Look at that. It's still going though, and it will keep going. Like, let's see. I'm gonna break out my fib again. It bounced off 50% retracement, give or take a little bit, and it's pumping again. So I think it's potentially gonna, it's gonna retest this 105 area. It's too late to get in that. Well, maybe not for options. I would wait for another pullback before you try to get into it. I don't know though. I mean, like I said, I don't see it doing too much pullback when it bounces off of 50%. It's got to start testing this high right here before it does pullbacks again. Let's see, PFE. I think there's more potential in seeing upside on PFE. What was AstraZeneca? ATZ maybe? ASC? Crap. AZN. That's kind of in the middle. don't know. I think out of all the vaccine companies, I really like Moderna the best, and it's already too high. Like I was in that position. I sold at $88 almost, and it went up to 105. I could have made probably $1,000 off of that play, and that's with shares. But I made like 400 something, so I'm happy. It's fine. But it's already kind of priced in Moderna. The other ones, so maybe Regeneron. No, REGN maybe. Oh, Regeneron might be a good one to pump. That's its support. Does that answer your question?
Oh yeah, I was just seeing if you had any. I mean, hasn't the U.S. government already paid for them already? What's to keep them from just taking it and not letting any of these companies profit off of it?
I don't know. Good question. That's hard to say. I don't know.
And I'm assuming all of them would probably end up making them after they figure it out, right?
Yeah, I mean they'll definitely stockpile vaccines once the right formula is created. Yeah, definitely be stockpiling, and I think there's going to be multiple versions of it. You know, some are going to be for elderly, some are going to be for people with existing conditions, some are going to be for the healthy people, so that they're just carriers, so it'll eliminate it out of their system from being carriers. I don't see Trump going out there and saying, "Oh, you know what, Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, whatever, we're just gonna take over your business, and you're just gonna create stuff for us because we said so." Um, I honestly don't even see Biden doing that. He's not a socialist. He's an elite establishment politician. So he'll fall in line with big business and corporations. They got their hands in his pockets. Now, if we had somebody like Bernie Sanders or somebody like that, then I would say, yeah, I can see them saying, hey, we're just going to take this thing over and you're going to do what we say. Because that's what socialists do.
Mm-hmm. Well, Pfizer's a German company, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Siemens is. That's not the same industry.
Do you got any stocks you're watching for shares for like the next couple months to hold on to?
Tesla and Apple.
Your go-tos, huh?
I mean, I've been watching them for a while, so I kind of know their movements, and it's easy to make money off of them when you know what they're going to do. Like, I can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow or in a week, like for Apple, but I can predict what price to get in at and what price to get out at. If that makes sense. So, like with
Yeah.
Apple, I would say 108 to 110, average down at 104, get out at 118. Tesla, it's a different ball game now. So prior to, it was 390 get in and get out at 420 or 430, 440, just any one of those areas. Even Tesla at low 400s to 420 and up is a good swing. But right now it's doing some pumps, so I'd say to let it shake out before trying to get into something like that. Let it hit a high and then let it fall and hit a low. And that's the time to get in Tesla. Tesla always never fails. Never bet against Tesla. Always bet with. But don't bet as it's going up, if that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
What? Hey, I'm in the chat. I'm like excited. I feel like I'm talking to a damn celebrity or something. What the hell? Sorry for my language. Okay. Well, I need to create another account on like another. I've seen the suggestions of Webull and Thinkorswim or whatever. As of right now, all I have is a mobile phone. I do have a MacBook that's like at my dad's house. I could like retrieve that later in the week, whatever. Right now, officially, all I'm using is Robinhood. Uh, I also have an account for E-Trade. I don't know how to read. I've not even looked at the options, and I looked at the tab for how to read options on or do options on E-Trade, and it just looks like, hey, you buy. Just look for alerts. That's all that's on that tab or whatever. It's just how to read the alerts, and that's not really helpful. I'm sure I could YouTube it or something. I guess whatever. But which would you say I should go with strictly for options and cash account stuff, whatever? Which is like the smoothest working platform in your opinion for the mobile users?
I've heard a lot of people say Webull is going to be the better one for mobile, especially. I know with experience, Thinkorswim is complex, and it's if you don't know how to use it on the desktop, the mobile is just that much harder.
Ah.
So Webull is going to be probably. Here's the thing with when you transition from Robinhood to something else, in my opinion, Webull is the next step up. Right? It's still geared towards beginners.
Levels to this shit type of thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thinkorswim is advanced. Frankly, E-Trade, Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, Thinkorswim, or TD Ameritrade, whatever, they're all advanced, right? They have all their own specific applications and software, and they're all specific to their developers, so they're all going to be a little bit different. The concept's the same, right? So if you learn the concept in Webull, then you can learn the concept on any other platform. I think with Webull, the presentation is a little bit easier to understand. That and I can get you free stock too, so there's that.
I definitely. I mean, E-Trade definitely had me thrown for a loop. However, I did I wouldn't say, I guess I got lucky. I was reading some news about this this company called Alpine Technologies, or their ticker's ALPP. And I just kind of like did like a not YOLO, but like a lotto investment on the penny stocks or whatever. And it went from 4 cents to like 20 cents roughly. And I bought like $440 worth. And now that turned to like over $2K.
Time to get out.
That's great. You think so?
Oh yeah. Hell yeah, get out of that.
Oh, because they're like drone stuff, and I wasn't sure if it was going to keep going up and up because they said it has like a potential to go to $350 per share or whatever. With some
I wouldn't believe that. So you're touching penny stocks. And penny stocks are absolutely dangerous. You can lose money just as fast as you made it.
Yeah, that's the only one, and I like literally, I guess, got lucky on that one. But I guess that like makes me feel better. I will hop out of it then because that was like a sort of tourniquet for the massive loss. Kind of like the guy that spoke earlier. I jumped into that Amazon call from last week, and boy, oh boy, I am currently down like roughly right at about $5,000 out of my like $7,000 portfolio, or whatever. Because I tried to average down or whatever. And yeah, I'm hoping for like a bounce back next week on the 3,300 call for like 7. Nothing massive, but just like I don't know, something to give me some money back, whatever. But
right. Well, see again, I'll say the same thing to you that I said to him. You got way too much into one position. I would be.
Say it again. You like broke.
I said you got way too much in one position.
Yeah, and that was my first month here, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, I mean, sorry, I keep cussing. My bad. I was like, I was like, "Whoa!" Like, I was stunned. But I know that that's on me now. Definitely for what is the phrase you guys say? Not damage control, but something along those lines, or
Risk
whatever.
management.
And yeah, I was like, I believe in you, and yeah, well,
See,
we'll
that's
see.
the thing here, though, is it sounds like you went blindly and you didn't do your own research. Well, how could you? You're on Robinhood.
Yeah,
There's no way to do research on Robinhood.
I'm fairly new.
So that's the
I'm
other
very
thing
new,
is,
actually.
if you're new to trading, why are you doing options? That's my question. Why options? You're breaking up.
I know some other people are gonna have their mics muted, but they're gonna roast the shit out of me for this, and it's okay. I got this coming towards me. I got into looking into Wall Street bets, and from there I went to actually read. Oh my god, yeah, I know it's coming. Yeah,
That's all you had to say is Wall Street bets.
my friend brought me across that, and I was like, this shit is hilarious. And then I was like, interesting. I'm gonna actually research what options are or whatever. Got into that, and I was like, oh, that doesn't sound too complicated. But I was actually more or less scared to jump in those waters myself. I had been trading. My first major trade I ever did was a Fisker or whatever, and that tanked and then rebounded back for a 600 plus because I put like a good over half of my portfolio into that or whatever because I believed in it long term. But then came the Amazon play, and I abandoned everything I was doing in the EV sector because, like I said, I've only been trading since September 9th. I put all my money in Robinhood, and I was like, let's go, full gears of churning, whatever. And yeah, Leroy Jenkins my way straight into hell right now, but I have faith, and it's just like you said, it's a very expensive lesson. Like
It is, unfortunately. So let me ask you a couple of questions. You know what implied volatility is? These are just yes or no questions.
oof, oh man, I found out about that one on the last Neo option. It's like I kind of looked these things up after, because I'd seen you guys throwing that term around. Like I'd seen it thrown around on Wall Street bets as well. Or I just look on there on occasion just for the jokes. At this point, I don't take any of their advice. I kept wondering, what is this term IV crush? Because they never spelled it all the way out or whatever. Then I saw you guys say it on here. And then I was like, kind of like you said about the don't bet against Tesla thing. I kind of took a chance on Neo or whatever, and that cost me about $300. And I go scroll down, and I see the implied volatility was at like 160%, and I was like, interesting, because my stock is above my strike price, but I'm not making any money. What's going on here? And then I went and researched that, and I was like, holy, well, yeah. So a much less expensive lesson, but I have an idea of what it is now.
Okay, so
yeah.
the short answer is no, you don't know what it is. Do you know what theta decay is?
That one's also basically along the lines of how I found out about implied volatility or whatever. I looked it up after the fact or whatever about the long calls and intrinsic value and extrinsic value and all that crap. So no.
Okay. Do you know what bid-ask spreads are?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what open interest is?
Oof. Is that basically like how many people are looking to buy a certain like range of calls or puts?
So here's the thing. I want to tell you, but I think you're going to learn if you research them specifically. So those few things that I asked you, research them. Those are the most important thing. I guess some of the most important things you need to know in terms of options. If you can't tell me what all of those mean with confidence, you should stop trading options until you can.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, okay. That makes sense. What do you think would be like a window, or should I just do this at open Monday? Do I just cut long? cut my loss on the Amazon call, or do I try to see by noon what's going on or whatever? Give it a little bit of
What's your
time to feel.
how long until it expires?
The exact thing that Algo put out or whatever. Let me see. 3300 call, I believe, for November 27th. Da da da.
Oh
And
man.
I didn't even know that next week. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to sit on that L.
What's your percent loss right now?
The app is loading up. Give me a little bit of a. Well, I'll say last I checked, I was down about almost $5,000, and I had roughly like $1,900 left. So we're probably looking at about 60-75% of the original, well, or like the scaled down amount or whatever.
Right.
Loss. I was kind of
I would
banking
probably
on
cut
whenever
losses
Algo.
by tomorrow. I mean, because you got. So here's the problem. Theta decay, or theta, erodes your contract value. And as you get to 50% days left till expiration, so for example, if you bought a contract with 10 days till it expires, by day 5, it's going to be really hard to come back. Even if it pumps that day, it's going to be really hard to come back. So you need to be very cognizant of the fact that you need to be in and out of a position as fast as you can, because theta decay is your enemy. With that being said, I would probably look to get out tomorrow if you can.
Yeah. So then wait, okay, because it cut out for a second. It said I got disconnected. I tried to reconnect as quickly as possible. But I caught the end of what you said. So then what's up with Theta when you guys are doing these like 2-year leaps and stuff or whatever? Like,
Theta is not really an issue with leaps. Theta becomes an issue the closer till expiration. So 30 days or less, theta is an issue. Leaps, if you buy a 6-month leap, by the last month and a half, theta becomes an issue. I mean, theta is always an issue, right? But it just becomes more exponential. And the value of your contract, it just makes it a lot harder to come back to break even if you're down.
like I've noticed like Tilio can like jump in and out of a contract, no problem. Or da da da. Even if he doesn't have stop loss, he's like, yeah, I decided to sell it. All right, cool. He's out of it. What I've noticed with contracts I've had before, little cheaper ones, very cheap ones that I've taken out just like, to see or whatever, da da da. Or as the great would say, testing out a play. It would not let me sell it on Robinhood, or it would just say like order place. I'm guessing nobody wanted to buy that. They're like, oh, that's a piece of crap now, type of thing, or whatever. Like nobody wanted to buy it, even though it had a few days on it or something. Like,
Remember what I said about those few things that you need to understand?
is that the open interest?
That is the
Hidden.
open interest.
Oof. Oh no.
So remember what I said. Those few things that I asked you, you need to know
Yeah.
those. Those are very important.
Yeah, I definitely need to research that then. Well, I'm gonna jump out of Tesla. I'm gonna lick my wounds or whatever, because if I lose that entire contract, oh man, I'm gonna be down bad, like sub $1,000 or whatever, da da da. And then I'll just basically be limited in what I could play in going forward or whatever. Because this is my second month. I didn't even know it was like a what is it called, reoccurring or recurring payment or whatever. So I was actually surprised. I was like, oh, I guess I'm here for a second month then or whatever. Da, da, da.
Yeah, it's definitely recurring.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't, because I saw the little special thing or whatever, and I was like messaging the crap out of you guys when I first, like, before I started. I was like, hey, let me get that. I know I missed that deal, but let me get that code, blah blah blah, or whatever. And I don't know who was messaging me, but they're like, "Yeah, man, I got you, dog, whatever." I ain't tripping about it, or whatever. It's like, cool. I'm here for a second month because I actually put in the trade. I was like, in a way, I guess we're like blood brothers or something now, or bound, whatever they used to do when they like bind prisoners together with ropes or whatever.
Chain
But
gang.
yeah, something along those lines. Because basically, and it's funny because that comment got a bunch of reacts. Because I guess from fellow Amazon players. But I was like, yeah, my original thing was I was gonna pay the $50, see what happens. If nothing happened at all, cool. I got to observe, had a fun experience. I'm out of here, whatever. Or I might stick around. If I made a profit, I'm gonna stick around. I guess if I took a loss, I have no choice but to stick around or whatever. Like I better learn something now, or whatever. Because now with that Amazon play,
Well,
and with the way
in your defense, um, a lot of people took that Amazon play, and it was a bad play. It was an expensive play. It was a bad play. It should have never happened. And that person that put out that play is no longer with us.
yeah,
So
that actually cleared me up. Like I don't know why. I don't know why, but that made me feel better for some weird reason. I don't know why, but it was just like okay, because I'm new here or whatever. Da da da. And then you guys were like, yep, we can't let this happen. We're looking out for you guys. And I was like, they care. They care. I don't, whatever. Like, yeah.
So what I recommend you do moving forward is learn those things, research those things that I suggested, write down questions about them, and come back to this live Q&A. We can go over it. Also, just really do yourself a favor and educate. Try to get as much education as you can. Maybe take a step back from trying to trade for now and
Yeah.
just learn. That's the most important thing. Because if you don't learn things that you need to learn to be successful, you're going to keep losing money. It doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing here that I recommend you do.
I'm off Wednesday and Thursday this week, so if I sell Amazon tomorrow, I'll have plenty of free time on my hands or whatever to look through some of the terms here and research some of those terms specifically via like YouTube or whatever else I can find. So yeah. Thank you. That was basically all I had as far as questions and stuff or whatever. I guess somebody with a more like informed question or something or whatever.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Who else has questions?
Yo, hustle.
Yo.
Yo, what's up? Yo, man, does that Weeble link you sent me still work?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Still haven't signed up? Still on Robinhood?
yeah, no, man, I'm just waiting for my funds to settle. But
I see.
yeah.
Yeah. Everybody needs to get off that damn Robinhood, man.
Yeah, bro. I'm just like, man, I have to get off of it.
It's trash. It's such trash. I hate it with a passion.
Yeah. Yeah, I decided to go all out, bro, and just like mark myself as a pattern day trader. I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna have fun scalping. But I was successful doing it. Had a lot of fun, and then boom, next day, can't buy stocks.
You should have taken as much advantage as you could.
Oh yeah, I did, man. I had a blast. It was fun.
Well, just wait till you get a cash account. Then
Oh
you'll
yeah,
have another
man.
blast.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be lit.
So, did you have any questions?
Nah.
Okay. Who else has questions?
What does IV 85% mean?
IV 85%?
Yes, sir.
Where are you seeing that?
Neo 2023 call, 10/20 2023. $50 strike price.
It's really far. 2023. Wait. January 2023. $50 strike. How much did you say? I didn't get that. What?
85% IV.
I'm not seeing 85%. I'm seeing 73. No, I'm sorry. Never mind. You're right. It's 85. That means that implied volatility is 85% for that strike for that time frame. You generally want to buy IV when it's low. With that being said, I think IV is low for Neo. IV rank is at 16%, which means it's got a 84% chance of going up. So the implied volatility is measured off of each strike for each contract. Time frames matter. Time changes the IV. Current IV is 113. Does that help?
Okay, so that means it will. There is a 85% chances that it might go up.
No, that is not what implied volatility means. Are you looking at my screen right now?
Yeah, I can see.
Can you see the two, the yellow and the red boxes in the top left?
Yes, I do see.
Okay, the yellow box is current implied volatility, which is 113 for today, or for last market open for Neo. Your current implied volatility for that strike for that date is 85. The red box is IV rank. It's an average based off of the last 252 trading days. That average tells me it's at 16%. Subtract 16 from 100, you get 84. That's an 84% chance IV goes up.
Got you.
Henny Boy Walmart looks like it's in an uptrend. That's about the best I can tell you. It hasn't made any lower lows. It's making higher highs as it goes. I think it could potentially fall some and create a new support level. Zoom is doing some downtrending. Just looking at the chart without even drawing anything, it's downtrending. And I think it's going to fall off of this. Well, it might. So it does have support here. It might bounce back above this trend line and retest this high, or this previous high, or previous resistance, I mean. That's a tough, tricky one, though. IV's high on it, too. Or relatively high, not extreme. I've unmuted you if you want to talk. Okay. Who else has questions?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello.
Sure. Hey.
I have a question. Um, so when you're trading support and resistances, what other indicators do you like to use? Because sometimes I'm like unsure of like, oh, if I buy at support, oh, is it gonna bounce from here, or is it just gonna tank and I get like fucked up?
I don't really use indicators.
Okay, so just like what price action and volume.
In trend, support and resistance.
Okay.
And also the knowledge of the stock.
Okay.
So continuously trading something over and over and over.
Okay. Do you mind like giving me an example?
What do you mean?
I was trading Alibaba on Friday and I messed up. I got out hella early and it just ran up without me. So like how would I have been like sure to keep trading it or like stay in the trade?
Yeah. So looking at the 30-day chart, right here, support.
It like kept hitting my stop loss and I had to get out. And so like I was like, fuck, should I even just keep getting in?
So
And
look at
then
this. Look at
later
this.
on it ran.
This is support.
Yeah.
This is resistance. 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 It broke through all of those resistance levels and they're weak.
Yeah.
So that tells me it has strength. Right?
Yeah.
That's price action.
Okay.
Next resistance level is going to be right here. So it basically
Okay.
has a ton of room to run up now.
Okay. Yeah, I was just unsure because I kept getting stopped out, and then I seen that it ran up. I was like, "Fuck!" Could have made some good money on that.
Well, I was in Baba and I made a little bit of money. It wasn't a lot, but it kept running up and the value of my contract stayed the same.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that too.
That's when I realized it's time to get out.
Okay.
I actually started losing a little bit. So I still took profits, but I think initially I had about a $25 or $30 profit and ended up taking profits around $17.
Okay. But do you look at like the volume, like
Yes.
around support or like the resistance?
No, I look at volume in relation to price action. What does a stock do when it gets to resistance? Does volume pick up? Does it pick up
On the 1
in
minute chart or the 5 or
5-day, 15-minute?
Okay.
Never ever look at the 1 minute. I mean, I honestly go for a chart analysis. I go further out: 30 days, 60 day, 180 day.
Okay.
When it comes to price action, though, you got to go closer in, like 5-day, 15-minute, or a 10-day A 10-day, 30-minute is okay to do. Yeah, 10-day,
Okay.
30 minutes okay to do.
5 minute good?
Hmm. You can get caught in a trap.
Uh-huh.
If you're asking if the 5 minute is good, then I would say no. But if you learn how it moves and reacts, then maybe
Yeah.
you can understand how it works. But not knowing it, no, it's not.
Okay. But I could like look at the 5 minute and the 15 for like more confirmation, right?
I would say the 5-day, 15 minute, you could look for more
Okay.
confirmation. And the 10-day, 30 minutes also good, which is the one I've got on my screen right now.
Okay. Sounds
And you can
good.
even go to like a 10-day, 15 minute instead of a 30.
Uh-huh.
It'll help drill down further into the candle patterns.
Okay.
Assuming
And
you have Thinkorswim.
I just been using TradingView and I use Webull.
Well, TradingView is not bad.
Okay. I just have one more question too, actually.
Sure, go ahead.
So when you see a candle break resistance, do you look for the whole candle to break and then enter, or do you just look for that break and then you get in?
So I wait for the candle to break, open above resistance, close above resistance, and the new opening candle after that is the entry. But you need to
Oh,
look at the next resistance level and find out how much room you've got before
right.
it starts slowing down on strength.
Because sometimes it'll just run up and you'll miss it, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that possibility.
Okay.
But you need multiple confirmations inside. Once you've crossed over resistance, you need
Yeah.
multiple confirmations to say this is staying above.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was all I had. Thank you.
Okay. Someone has a question about AMD. Is it likely to stay within the 73 to 88 range in price or potentially break out? I think it'll go above 80, 88. Look at the trend. Higher lows. It's going to retest 88 at least. It's better if you ask questions on the mic so everybody can hear it. Sometimes I don't see messages as well. Okay, who else has questions?
What do you think about Boeing right now? I don't know if you already talked about it, but I bought when it was down about a month ago at 160, and it's had some growth since. I've made profit on it. I think I bought about 4 shares, but it's going back down again. So I'm not sure what you think.
I would get out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Last January, it was worth about 300, so I thought it could be something I could stay in like long term, but I'm not seeing it yet. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not there yet.
Yeah, because that was like at the beginning of everything, like before COVID. Yeah, and that was its highest it's been. So, okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I would also suggest getting out in extended hours or pre-market.
Oh, okay.
If you have shares, you can do that.
Do you think that's better than during open, like when the market's open? You think I could get some better deals or?
Mm, it's done a full retrace off of its most previous wave. That's not
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
Right, and then it did a little bit of green, and then it's broken below that support level.
Yep.
So if I go to 30, let's shoot. Go to the 30. It's broken below it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how low it'll drop. I don't think it's going to go as low as it was before, but I
Yeah.
think it will drop.
Yes, sir. So you think probably like when market opens Monday, I should probably get out right then before it goes any lower?
I would get out pre-market.
Okay. Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, I'll probably do that, order it right now then. Yeah, if that's what because I did see it, like, I probably should have sold when it was at 210, but it just dropped off, like, so quick that yeah.
Well, for future reference, what you should do is
Mhm.
when you see something like that pumping, you set a
Yeah.
trailing stop loss.
Oh, okay, smart. So that I can get out before it reaches below that number. Yeah, you're right. I probably should have set that up.
Do you know what a trailing stop loss is?
Um, I'm pretty sure. Show me really quick. I'm new to the whole platform, I guess you could say, setting that up.
So a trailing stop loss is different than a stop
Mhm.
loss.
Oh, okay.
So what price did you enter in at?
I believe it was 160. I bought in at.
Okay, and
Yeah,
when
good
you
check.
bought
It
at
was
one
160.
okay, when you bought at 160, what price would you have been okay to have sold at for profit?
Hmm. I guess I was when I bought. I guess I would have been okay with like 190 or what it's at now, 199. But I guess I was kind of more thinking that I saw the growth, so I thought it would go up more over time. But I see it going back down again. That I don't know if I should stay in it for the long term.
Okay, so here's
Yeah.
one thing that I recommend is at
Mhm.
190, which is right here. Are you looking at my
Yes, sir.
screen?
Yes.
Okay, so 190, which is right here. When it did a pullback, okay, so 190 back down to 175.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
The moment it started pumping up and it broke that 190, I would have put a $15 trailing stop loss. And what that does is at 190, a $15 trailing stop is 175, right?
Yes, sir.
As
Yep.
the price goes to let's say 226, right? Or let's say 225 is easier math. When the price hit 225 and then dropped $15 to
Mhm.
210, it would have sold out right there.
Got it. So it would have kind of protected me from possibly losing more than I could have.
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
it basically protects your profits to a certain extent.
Mhm.
And as the price rises, your stop loss rises with it.
Got it. Okay. I'm gonna write that down really quick. I need to make sure to set that up tomorrow.
I would get
Yeah,
out.
sorry, I'm new to
I wouldn't
this.
use that.
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
am
use that.
gonna. Yes, sir. I'm gonna take your advice and get out. I'm gonna put in the order right now to get out at the current price to hopefully make a little bit of profit off of it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all your help and your guidance and everything. That was awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a great night. Thank you.
You too. Okay. Who's next?
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, I have a question on Microsoft.
Okay.
I'm currently in a contract that ends the 27th. and I'm down 10%. Do you see that going up in the next 2 days, or should I just take the 10% loss Monday?
Tough one. Reason I say that is because you have support where it's at, but it's creating lower highs. Right? It's creating lower highs, but it has support. I think this is a downtrend though. So, I mean,
Gamble it for one more day, or
no, definitely get out tomorrow because if it expires on the 27th, it's going to be worth even a lot less then. I would totally get out tomorrow, maybe by noon if you can. If you see green tomorrow, get out with the green.
okay.
Hopefully you're only at a 5% loss at that point.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay, cool then. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because this theta is gonna kick in heavy.
Yeah. I'm not even sure what strike it is, but
Yeah, I have a question actually. Let me think about how to phrase it though. Do you hedge your trades?
no.
Not at all. You just choose one side.
I don't really buy options, frankly.
Oh, okay.
I sell options and I buy shares.
Got it.
So I'm a net seller, not a net buyer.
Yeah, I just bought access to this Discord, and I like what I'm hearing.
But I will say that if I do scalp, which I do every once in a while, I don't hedge. I don't hedge because I'm planning to be in and out of that position within 5 to 15 minutes.
For sure.
And honestly, that's the best way to play option buying is to get out as quick as you can. Especially if you've got 5 to 10% profit, definitely get out. Can't go wrong when you're taking profits sooner rather than later and you're getting 5 to 10% returns every time. So that's definitely I mean, I'm incorporating scalping into my strategy. I've kind of slowed down on option selling because my money gets tied up. I've sped up on shares because there's no time or theta decay. There's no chance of losing until I decide I want to lose, which I never decide that. So I never lose up until this point, at least. I mean, I'll sit on a position for 3 months if I have to.
Yeah, if it's a stock, it's hold.
Yeah, it's and I always buy at support levels, so it's not like
I feel like with
getting
the
at a high or something.
the previous topic about Boeing, I feel like she does need to get out ASAP because it's a long-term hold. But
yeah, absolutely, yeah, I agree. She definitely needs to get out as quick as possible. And
but even if she didn't, just hold.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I suggested extended hours or pre-market, which is extended hours, because you can get out before the market decides to drop that stock further. But I see some more fall on that stock. There's probably a potential entry coming soon once it drops some more. But they will have 737 MAX news coming out soon, I think.
Yeah, I just flew on one actually.
You just flew one?
I just flew on one.
Oh. That had me been a little unnerving.
Yeah, it was a little sketchy, but it was okay.
They're
so
really nice planes. It's just
the
software that made it nosedive into the
it's scary stuff.
the ground. Yeah.
So you sell calls, you buy shares.
Well, I
and
don't
then
sell
you
calls. I sell
oh,
puts,
you
cash
sell puts,
puts. Yeah.
cash puts. That's something I've never dived into before. I mainly just do options, and I have a long term account. So that's interesting. I have never thought about
You
selling
can do
calls.
cash puts on long-term positions.
Mm-hmm.
It just requires a substantial amount of money. You got to have
Yeah.
100 shares worth of cash in case it goes against you.
Mm-hmm. But that's arguably the safest way.
Absolutely, because it turns to shares if you lose, it turns to
Mm-hmm.
shares,
Mm-hmm.
and then now you're just stuck holding until it comes back. And
Yeah,
you know
I
you
got you.
can mitigate that loss by selling covered calls.
Yeah, I have never dived into this style yet.
It's a really great strategy if you got the
Mm-hmm.
cash. It's a really great strategy. Sell cash puts, it goes against you, assuming it does. If it doesn't, you just win. But if it
Mm-hmm.
does go against you, you own shares, and then you could sell covered calls against those shares at the same strike that you sold the put on and take in profits until it takes away the shares.
Kind of like a hedge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of, yeah. Not exactly, but similar, I guess. It's you're reducing your loss.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a really solid strategy. That's what I do with cash puts. If I sell cash puts, I only sell cash puts until I get assigned shares, and then I do covered calls. I don't just go buy shares and do covered calls. That's kind of not a great idea, to be honest.
For sure. See.
Hey, Hostile. In regards to that strategy, um, I actually do the exact same thing. I did it on Wells Fargo. Unfortunately, it dropped 20 something dollars. So I want to start. I started another position near the lows, and it's gone up around $4. I'm not sure if I should sell calls now or wait for a little more run up. And I'd love to sell some naked puts. You know, deeper in the money, sort of. Um,
I recommend against naked selling anything naked.
Well, I mean, I'm willing to take the shares if I get assigned. You know what I mean? So I'd love to get
So
paid
it,
double.
it's not naked then if you're selling. If you're selling and you can cover that position with money to get shares, it's not a naked position.
Got you. Okay.
The only time it's naked is if you have margin, a margin account with margin, and you don't have enough actual cash to buy that position. If it goes against you, then it's naked.
Got you. Um, and so I'm kind of stuck in this wells, and I want to add more shares, and I also want to cover some of my shares with some calls. It's just that I'm waiting for this run up. It looks like
What was
it's
your
faded.
initial cash put strike?
Oh, it's like, I have a lot of shares by now, but I think I started like right at near the highs, like 46, 48.
Wow, you did that a long time ago.
Yeah, and then I just started like laddering down, all the way down to
So
21, I think.
what's your break even?
Probably like mid 30s, let's say.
Mid 30. Give me an exact number.
Hard to say. About, is it 34?
It doesn't calculate it for you on your platform.
I kind of have it in two different accounts, so that makes it a little harder to come
Okay,
up with a
so
number. But
what's
it's about 1,600 shares.
What's the two numbers that both your platforms say? And the amount of shares.
So, but yeah, let's say around 1,600 shares.
Equal on both sides, so 800, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could say 32 on one side, and yeah, I'd say about 32, 33 is the average. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the problem. if you're gonna sell covered calls against those,
Hmm.
number one, there's no way to combine those two. You're gonna have to do them separately. Right, so let's
Right.
just
Right.
let's just assume they're both 33. Okay, so
Okay.
do you have 800 800?
Sure.
Okay. About the best you're gonna get right now, and this is break even, just barely over.
Hmm.
Is gonna be April cover calls on April of
Jeez.
21. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not paying much. I mean, I would, I might even just add and sell some puts here. Um, Try and bring down my costs.
So what I would suggest is, let me just take another quick look.
I actually have a set, let's say, for a flit of about 400 shares that I picked up around $21 to $23. So I'm up on that entire lot. So I was thinking about selling calls against just that lot, maybe like 400 or 500 shares, closer at the money. Pick
Well,
up some rent, you know.
that's not a good idea either, because if this thing's in an uptrend, it's going to
Right.
take those shares away.
I see. Yeah, exactly.
So you're kind of in a pickle, honestly. I would just, when it hits a low, add to the position if you can,
Right.
and keep bringing down that average cost until you can get it somewhere close to at the money. Like, so ideally, you want to be 60 days on a covered call. So 54 days in January is about best I would suggest. And you want to get your shares down to at the money. So 27.5 right now. Then you could sell. So let's say for a second your break even for all of it is, or for each account is $28. Well,
Okay.
then you could sell 8 contracts and make $30 a contract. So that's $240.
Right.
But I don't know that I don't like. I really do not like Wells Fargo at all. I think it's
Yeah.
trash. I personally like Citibank. They're better to trade, or Bank of America is okay. Or JPM is probably a decent one too. But Citi is usually better for me. But
Hmm.
you know, I mean, see, like with Citi here, it broke through resistance levels, and it keeps going, and it's probably going to break through these. But Wells Fargo, it's having trouble right here.
Yeah.
And if it gets above that, it's going to have trouble here. If it gets above that, it'll have trouble here. So there's a lot of trouble areas for this. It's got 4 or 5 resistance levels, if not more, before it gets to an area where it has nothing to stop it except for a high.
Right.
I know that doesn't help you, but what I would recommend is, I don't know. You're too far away from current price with your break even.
Yeah.
It's just too far to really do much other than wait it out. If the stock price drops to the 2260 or less, that's when I say you start adding more back to it.
Okay.
Never buy at highs for future reference.
I just didn't mind owning the asset at every price. That was the whole goal, and just to eventually get to a whole lot of shares. And this is pre-COVID, so
Well, I got you. Okay, so I mean, in that scenario, it sounds like you don't mind owning it.
I don't.
So I would say at support levels, buy more.
Okay. Just scalp the shares or actually add to them and sell calls.
Just add to them until your break even gets to where the stock price is, and then you can sell
Right.
calls on it if you decide.
Right. Okay.
But your goal here should be to get that break even down to the current price or close to it, so that you can sell calls against it and take in profits. And then you, at that point, you'll be lowering your average cost every time you do it until it takes away the shares.
Right. Exactly.
And at that point, I would sell at the money for sure. But you're
The
gonna have
calls. Yeah.
to, you're gonna have to go the second month contract behind. So, for example, the current monthly contract coming up is December 18th. You would have to
Right.
go to January 15th to see any kind of real profits. And
Right.
also, implied volatility is really low. So you need to wait till that jumps too before you start selling calls against something.
Okay.
IV rank specifically is at 20%. It needs to go higher before you
Right.
sell anything against shares. So you've got definitely time for that to happen, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know how banking is going to react here soon. I mean, it could keep going, right? It could potentially get to your $32, $33 area. I mean, that is the top resistance level. You know, you could potentially right now add to the position in small amounts, you know, 50 at a time or 25 or 20. You know, 20 so like right now it's done a drop, add 20, then it pumps and then drops again, add 20, pumps, drops again, add 20. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna until that break even price comes closer to where you're at, you're never going to be able to do anything with it. And if this thing keeps pumping, you're just going to have to sit there unless you throw money at it. Now, throwing money at it is kind of risky because you're in the situation where now when you start trying to average down, when it does actually go back down to 22 or something, you're going to have to throw like 300 to 500 shares worth of money at it to get it to substantially drop and break even. So you got to remember that too. So the more money you got in it, the slower your break even falls. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who else has questions?
What's up, Hostel? What do you think about Macy's? Because the holiday season's coming up. I wish I would have gotten in them earlier. Considering holiday season, but I don't know if it's gonna be too late to.
Yeah, I would wait on that. Definitely. You know who you need to talk to is Mario94. He likes to play Macy's. He could give you some real detailed information about it. I can just look at a chart. He can tell you more.
I
But I
wonder if
wouldn't
it's
play
in
it
here
right now.
right now.
It's too high. You've already missed you've missed
Yeah, I
out.
know. Yeah, I was waiting for I was thinking about like a 50% retracement, but they never did anything. They never did any downside. So
It did.
It did.
Look at my chart.
Well,
That's
that's a
50%.
Wix though. No.
It don't matter. It don't matter with a wick. Anything
Okay.
that drops down to that 50% level counts. When we're doing
Yeah.
support and
So
resistance, the body is what matters. When you're doing retracements, anything matters or counts.
okay, I see.
Because that
Well,
just means
yeah.
the movement of the price touched a level, right? And then it bounced really hard back off of it. It bounced extremely hard with this.
Yeah, bounce right back up. Yeah. the
Yeah.
fast ones. Yeah, I missed that one too. So I don't know.
I think it's got some. It's gonna probably slow down and stop pumping, and it might just slowly uptrend until it hits this high.
Yeah, because I was about to say the next resistance is at like 11.5 or something. So, like there's nothing in between that's stopping it from what I see.
Yeah. Like I said, I think through the holiday season up until maybe like January, start of January, Macy's is gonna slowly pump. Let's take a look at last year. Yeah, so it reached a high first week of well, second Monday, I think, of January. So like 8 days into January. That might have been a Saturday or a Friday, maybe something like that. 8 days into January, it reached its high, and then it started falling, and then COVID happened. So if you're looking at my chart, you can see here that it fell from its high. Uh, it had resist or support at 1580 from 1857. So $3 drop basically. So I anticipate the same thing. First week of January, it's gonna hit its high, and then it's gonna fall.
Okay, so
That's the beauty of these seasonal stocks like Lowe's, Home Depot, Macy's. I'm not sure that Amazon really falls into that, but like retail stores like Macy's, Lowe's, because of you know weather and cold, people aren't really building in the winter time, especially if it's in a northern area where it snows and ices. That's really bad for wood, especially if somebody's building a house or something. You get warped wood. So this is an example of a seasonal play.
yeah, it just yeah the cold. Yeah, I mean, I guess that big fall it was just because of COVID. So I don't know how to play a seasonal call like this in the future though, since e-commerce is gonna be bigger. I'm not really optimistic about Macy's. So after this pump in
I
after
agree.
January, you know what I mean? I don't think I'm gonna touch them anymore
I
if
agree.
if it goes over their last support. Yeah.
I would definitely wait it out and see what happens. I mean, here's the thing: if COVID becomes a thing of the past,
Uh,
Macy's is going to go back up. People aren't going to completely avoid the malls. You know, think of this for a second. I'll use myself as an example. I don't like buying clothes or shoes off the internet because I can't try them on. It's a hassle for me to send stuff back. I would rather go to the mall. I'd rather try on 4 or 5 different pairs of pants and shoes and shirts and choose the best ones that I like. And I'm done. Right? And it's also kind of my wife likes to, she enjoys going to the mall and window shopping and, just kind of walking around and hanging out. There's more to it than just buying stuff, at least for some people. If I go by myself, I'm in and out. I'm not interested in walking around. But either way, I don't like to buy things off the internet right now. Um, especially like clothes, that is specifically. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've done it. It's just a hassle, right? If it doesn't fit me, I got to go back. I got to go drive to UPS. I got to bring a box, go package it up. I got to. I mean, I guess it's not really that much of a hassle because when I go buy clothes at Macy's, for example, I still have to drive there. So I don't know. I guess I'm kind of on 50-50 on that now that I really think about it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think Macy's gonna go away per se. Just
I mean, one of my favorite places to shop is Nordstrom Rack. And they got I like penguin shirts, so I normally get a lot of collared penguin shirts there. They also, and it's an outlet. Like Nordstrom is not Nordstrom Rack. Nordstrom Rack, they get the stuff on sale from Nordstrom. So whatever doesn't sell in Nordstrom, they send over to Nordstrom Rack, and there's a certain time frame. So it could be, I mean, like I've got a lot of really nice clothes that I bought from Nordstrom Rack, and I got them for $10 a shirt when they were like $100 at Nordstrom. And it's the same concept with Macy's. I mean, Macy's obviously doesn't have deals like that, but Nordstrom itself, I don't see them going out of business, just like I don't see Macy's unless, they just go bankrupt because of COVID. But if COVID is no longer an issue, Macy's will bounce back. I mean, just
well,
like outlets, like I would drive to an outlet and shop there before I buy something off the internet because the internet's you can find good deals here and there, but it's not the go-to place for everything, right?
yeah, I mean, I do think people do like to buy clothes on the in real stores. I guess it's just I mean, yeah, on Amazon, I don't know. I feel like people do like to go shop in the store. I don't know. I don't really know actually because
I mean,
I mean
it's
personally,
50-50, right? I mean, some do this, some do that, right? I mean, here's the thing, like I bought some sweatpants and sweatshirts off of Amazon because I got them for $10. The same thing in the store was 75, right? But then there's some other things like collared shirts or nice shoes that I can't get off of Amazon. I get it from Nordstrom Rack. Or there's an outlet, I'll go to that and there will be like Saks Fifth Avenue outlet. Great place to shop for button-up shirts and slacks and sports jackets, that kind of thing. Amazing for that. I go in there and buy $500 worth of stuff, and I have an entire closet full of sports jackets, slacks, and nice button-up shirts, and even some shoes, some dress shoes, ties, stuff like that. So,
Amazon Prime doesn't offer that.
well, not only that, like it's hard to those types of clothes are really hard to find fitting perfectly, right? And if I go to Nordstrom, like I'm sorry, if I go to Saks to buy that at the outlet Saks, that is, like last time I went up there, I bought 3 suits, and they fit almost perfectly. I had to get just a little bit of hemming done on the wrist area and the um where my feet are at the bottom, just a little bit, like a half inch or quarter inch, and that was it. Everything else fit perfectly, like it was tailored. I even got like a vest, like a 3-piece suit. And I paid $150 for that, and it's a Hugo Boss, so brand name. Can't get that off Amazon. No way.
Did I measure you or something in there?
No, it fit perfectly almost. Like I said, I had to hem just a little bit, but otherwise it fit my shoulders just right. It fit my chest area and my waist and my thighs and all that. It fit perfectly. I didn't have to do any hemming other than just a slightly bit too long. Right? Even like the neck area was perfect. So, and this is like $1,000 3-piece suit if I were to buy it at Saks straight up. I got that shit for $150. That's a deal. You're not gonna find that online. Because online they do retail. So what's the difference between doing retail online and retail at the store? The better places to buy stuff is at outlets. So people that don't have to worry about money and go in and just drop $5,000 on clothes like it's nothing, they're the ones that shop at Nordstrom and Saks. The people that pay attention to what they spend and try to get deals, they're the ones that go to outlets.
Outlet have a like.
You're in New York, right?
I mean, I was in Macy's yesterday. That's what I was thinking about Macy's.
You've never been to Woodbury?
Well, no, I don't.
Oh my lord!
Is that like
And you live in New York. You ain't never been to Woodbury.
Woodbury Commons, man.
Nah.
You're missing out.
Oh my lord! You're totally missing out. That's one of the best outlets I've ever been to.
I never even heard of them really. Like maybe that's why I didn't went there.
Westchester, man. Go out there.
Westchester?
It's like an hour and a half, right?
That's in the Bronx, right?
Nah,
No,
Westchester.
it's-
Oh. Shit, I never
It's like
been to
it's like an hour and some change away from the city. West.
But that's the thing. I don't have a car, you know.
They have buses. You can get on a bus that specifically drives you to Woodbury from the city.
That's true. That's true. But like, damn, I don't know.
I don't know about now, but
I mean,
It's
yeah,
still
now
there.
it's closed, right?
oh, it's still going. They still
It's
do
still
that.
going. Yeah, I'm from Connecticut. I just went there 2 weeks ago. It's still going.
Oof.
They still got everything.
Man, Woodbury is the shit.
Agreed.
Shit, they got everything, man. I bought a I got some Lacoste stuff from there. I got some Burberry from there. Bought my wife a Gucci purse from there, and it was like half price.
Half price?
Hell yeah! Like a $1,000 purse was $500.
G-Star jeans, polo, anything you could think of.
Tory Burch. That's women's stuff. Sorry, my wife, she's designer. But yeah, man, they got all kinds of stuff. They got Spider. You ever heard of Spider?
Nah. Is
It's
that
like
brand?
it's ski wear. It's like North Face but better.
I never heard of these brands. I mean, I do. Nah, I mean, I heard all these brands. I just never heard of them being half price and all that. I didn't know they do this. Shit, yo, if they do that, man.
Sounds like you need to make a trip to Woodbury.
You got to get outside of New York City. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's all
Although
it is.
Soho is pretty nice. I found some pretty good deals at a couple of places in Soho.
What about Macy's? You ever found good deals in Macy's?
Not really.
No.
Bloomingdale's I have, but
Fuck.
not really Macy's.
I don't know, man. I've never been outside of the city. I just thought like the best place to shop are like Macy's and Bloomingdale because like that's what they have.
Nah.
That's where most people go to, you know. But I guess
Hell no. So they even got Armani Collezione. Shit. They got Armani Exchange up there, Mac. I think they do, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I bought Armani jeans from somewhere. I don't remember if it was there or in Maryland, but I bought some AX jeans or AX jeans from
Cheap.
one
Cheap.
of them places.
Buffalo jeans, all that type of stuff. Cheap.
Diesel.
Yup, cheap. Lucky brand, Lucky Denim, cheap.
They even got Penguin up there, the Penguin store, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Man, I tell you, that outlet has everything that every outlet across the country has. Like I've been to
Woodbury?
Cali. Yeah, I've been to Cali and been to 3 or 4 outlets in LA. They don't have everything that Woodbury's got. I've been to Atlanta, the city in New York. There's a couple outlets that ain't really that great. Here where I live, South Carolina, Florida, Texas, none of them compare to Woodbury. You got the best outlet in the country, and you ain't never been.
No, man, I don't know how. If I have a car, I mean, it never occurred to me that to to go upstate to buy clothes and all that because I don't know, I don't know many.
It's
You
because you're
know,
from New York and you guys stay in New York City. You guys think it's all there instead of going outside. You pay high prices because you get things first. But the rest of us, we shop outside. I'm from Connecticut. We go outside. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
I won't lie that New York City has the newest gear though. Like they got all the newest hot shit, but it's expensive as hell. It's for rich people, honestly. You know what I'm saying? 42nd Street. I think it's 42nd Street, right?
Yep.
Saks, Fifth Ave. Shit. Gucci, Prada, Armani, Burberry, LV, all that stuff right there in New York City. It's for rich people. Fucking $200, $300 belt. Wallet's $500. Pair of shoes is like $1,200. Little book bags, 3 Gs. Who the hell pays that? Rich people. Because they don't give a shit. But me, you, and Mac,
I can't pay
we
for
got
that
three
shit.
Gs for that.
I'll put that in the market before
That's right.
You know what I mean? I just walk by Times Square. I see people lining up outside of Skechers and like all type of
That's
sportswear.
retarded.
Yeah, like they all came from like Brooklyn and like Bronx and all that. I don't think they're from Manhattan. They all come over here to buy stuff. Like I mean, like that's I don't know the appeal in that, but I guess that's good for their businesses. I don't know how they do this.
All you need to do is find that bus that takes you to Woodbury, and they will bring you back. There's a certain time that it runs.
It sounds like a field trip.
It's like $25, I think.
It's a field trip, but it's worth it. Let's just keep it
It's
honest.
well
It's worth
worth
it.
it.
Yeah, I mean, if I
Bring
can buy like
$1,000 with
Gucci
you.
Armani for half price, I mean,
They got a
shit.
North Face store. You go get you a coat for half. I'm telling you, it's worth it. That's
Do
what
they
we
have
do.
like Adidas and I mean
Oh,
Everything.
sportswear,
absolutely.
Adidas,
everything?
that's basic. Adidas,
Yeah.
Puma, Nike, Reebok, Vans, anything you could, it's there. It's there.
And this Nike up there in Woodbury, they got new shit.
Tell them.
They don't
I
have
thought
like
you s-
the Nike where I live. It's like, man, this shit is like 10 years ago, man. Nobody's
what
wearing
the
this no
fuck?
more. But you go to Woodbury, it's like, damn, I saw this at the store in Manhattan.
They have that?
Some of it, not all of it.
You'll
Oh, I
catch it.
mean,
You'll catch some shit. Something that just left the store. Let's say just out of season. Not too far, but
Yeah, just a couple of months.
yeah, that's worth it. Why not?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
that's
You're not.
wild.
Yeah, you're not gonna wear it because it's a couple months old.
I don't even care about that. I just want some like good quality, like nice, fresh clothes.
Google the bus. Google the Woodbury Commons bus. You'll be fine.
I'm googling that place right now. Yeah, that sounds like that sounds nice though.
Tell you, man, go up there with a few grand, you'll get everything you need. Just don't be buying LV shit. I know it's half price, but
No, I'm not.
avoid those stores.
I won't
Avoid
buy any.
Burberry.
Yeah,
Avoid Prada. Avoid that shit. Go to Puma. Go to Nike. Go to North Face. Go to Spider. Go to those places like that. You get everything you need for a few grand. 2 or 3 Gs will do it. I think I went up there with $1,000 for me and 1,000 for my wife. It was like 3 grand. I left with $500 still in my pocket, and I had a full suitcase worth of stuff.
I need to bring me a suitcase there because I need so much clothes and sneakers, pants, and that's just.
Man, you're
I
gonna be
don't.
in heaven, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and then it's gonna be worth more than $25 off the bus ride probably.
Oh yeah, well worth
Much better,
$25.
yeah, much better than.
I've traveled to Manhattan just to go to Woodbury.
Is
Go to
that the only way
Manhattan
to
to
go
eat.
there?
I go to
Uh-uh.
Manhattan to eat, and then I go to Woodbury to shop. I come back to Manhattan to eat, and I go to sleep. Wake up, eat again, and then I jump on a plane and I'm gone.
You came to New York just for
Yeah,
Woodbury?
hell yeah. You damn right I did. I brought a suitcase. I only brought enough clothes for 2 days, and then the rest of the thing in the suitcase was Woodbury shit.
Yeah.
I think I'm joking. Wait till you see.
No, I mean, I don't think you're joking. Like, it just sounds intrigued. I want to bring my friends over there now.
But I will say Soho is really, really good shopping. I have found some pretty good stuff there. There's this one out that I bought a like a sleeping robe and slippers. It was like a fleece style. I got it for $20, and it was $200 retail. I also got like 4 or 5 shirts for $5 a piece, like a Porsche and an Audi shirt, $5. Um, a couple other shirts for $5 to $10 in Soho. I don't even remember the store. The Fat Rat maybe, or some kind, something like that. Something Rat. They had a bunch of shirts in there that were really cool, T-shirts, and like it was all like hip shit. Like if I see it down here where I live, it's $50. So Soho is good for two things: pretty good deals and lots of eye candy. Woodbury is great for deals only.
Woodbury, it is then, because I like deals.
Have you even been to Soho?
Yeah, man. I actually go to school around Soho, so I walk by there all the time.
Oh,
I love
okay.
walking by there. Like, it just, I don't want to go into these stores.
You should check it out. I mean, it's not Woodbury cheap, but there are some couple of places that are pretty good as far as price goes. I mean, one shirt here and there, that's cool. Don't go in there and buy like a whole wardrobe closet's worth. But you can pop into a store here and there and find a shirt for $5 to $10, really cheap. Like I said, I found a Porsche and an Audi shirt. They were $5 a piece. You can't beat that. Woodbury can't beat that.
I don't.
Maybe,
Even,
maybe it can compare, but it can't beat it. $5 for a shirt? Come on, that's hard to
that's
beat.
yeah, that's cheaper than like a white T-shirt. Like, but is it good quality though? Like $5.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and it's like official Porsche
Oh, I
shirt.
don't, I
Like,
don't think it's official. I mean, it's a nice quality shirt with Porsche printed on it and Audi printed on it.
well, these shirts, like, you buy them in a store or like on the.
Yeah, I mean, you walk into
Yeah,
the store and they got it on the rack. You know what I mean?
yeah, I do see a lot of like store. I do always see a lot of people lining up outside of the Porsche, wait, outside of these Soho stores and all that. They always have these kind of stores inside like a really fancy classical, building. So I never walked in there because like it looks it just looks expensive to me.
Some of them are. You got to find the small ones. They're really small. They're like smaller than a trailer, half of a trailer, single wide trailer, half the size of one of those. That's the store that I went into that found all these shirts. I mean, they had Porsche, they had Audi, they had Toyota, they had Lexus. I mean, it had stuff like that. I mean, I think it was just like somebody got some decent quality shirts and they printed that stuff onto the shirts. You know what I'm saying? So for $5, just a shirt with nothing on it is a good price.
I mean,
Just walk into some of them. Meaning, there's nothing wrong with walking in and just browsing.
I did walk in like one. I walked in one store in Soho, like because I used to intern in like a music business in Soho, and I walked in a luggage store, I think, and they sell clothes, and their shit is so expensive. I like walked out, but I don't know. Maybe I'll check out some other stores.
Well, I mean, Soho is like a few blocks, isn't it?
It's like, yeah, it's a couple street wide. It's like 8, 9 street wide, couple avenues.
Yeah. So it's a couple of blocks, 2 to 3 blocks worth of shopping. It's a decent size. There's stuff on 60th Street too. Broadway and 60th. 66th, I think. I think that's where AX is. Armani Exchange in New York City is pretty nice. They got like 3 levels. It's pretty nice. And they're not... The reason I like AX is it's pretty cheap no matter where you go. Obviously, Woodbury is much cheaper, but AX is still relatively inexpensive for designer, unless you're buying like jackets or, I don't know. I've always bought jeans and shirts and shorts, and jeans are usually $50 to $75. Shirts are usually 30 to 50. Shorts range from 30 to 75. I mean, hit the sell rack. You got to know how to shop. Don't just go in there to the brand new stuff that hasn't even, been on the floor for 2 days. Go in there and hit the clearance rack, man. Get lucky.
I never seen a clearance rack down there.
You're not looking good enough.
I walk in like I think it was Ralph Lauren's, and they don't have clearance.
Man,
they're
screw
so
them.
fancy.
Go to damn Woodbury for Ralph Lauren and Polo. That shit is dime a dozen out there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I want Ralph Lauren's. I want Nike shoes and
bro, Nike
clothing and shit.
They have the
I went to
Nike
the Tommy
stuff.
Hilfiger outlet and bought 5 sweatshirts and 2 button-ups for $120. They were on sale clearance.
You bought how many?
5
shirts?
sweatshirts and 2 button-ups for $120. It was on sale. They were giving them shits away.
Yeah, literally. Here, take this shit. We don't want it, man. Just give us something for it. Donation.
I can show you a picture of one right now I'm wearing. I'm serious. I go up there and buy sneakers. The Nikes that are like 120, 170, they drop down to 80 bucks, 90. You catch the clearance rack where they take the top of the box
40.
off so you can't resell it. They're fucking an extra 20% off. You're good. Go up there.
Yeah, that Nike outlet is fucking boss, man. I've never been to a Nike outlet that was that lit. And it's a big one. It's not like you just walk in and there's just like a couple of clothes racks and then some shoes in the back. Now this shit is like shoes in one area, men's section, women's section, miscellaneous section. I think they even got like other types of sporting sections. It's been a while since I've been up there. I think they got like athletic section, fitness section, just crazy shit. Been a while though, so.
You still answering questions on some technical indicators?
Yeah, sure.
So I had a question about kind of like futures involving gold and silver. I've been looking at silver a lot recently since that's been down quite a bit, looking to make a swing move on that towards the end of the year. But I was wondering, like, what are some differences with candlestick indicators between commodities and then just like a standard day trade on a stock?
So I don't necessarily use indicators. Are you referring to a specific one?
No, I'm just like looking at like the charts or different, like MACD,
just like chart analysis.
RSI. Yeah, like is there different things you should look at when looking at gold or silver compared to looking at stock?
Well, I would say do a chart analysis, do support and resistance, and figure out trend. Um, I don't really like RSI or MACD because it's after the fact type of trading. It also is. I mean, if you get to like a 180 chart, RSI can be decent. Gold and silver, it's a highly manipulated market. So it's a bit dangerous to try and trade that. However, I think right now is a good time to get in. It's definitely at a low, especially like Barrick Gold Miners, ticker symbol GOLD. I think it'll fall further, probably down to like 2280 area. Definitely in a downtrend, and it's bleeding. Would like to see this stop bleeding and start coming back up. I mean, I'm surprised it's bleeding this much. I thought that we were going to see gold and silver continue upwards, but it's breaking through support levels. I still think it has room to fall. Not sure that answers your question.
Yeah, it kind of does. I mean, so like what I was looking at, if you just pull up like price of silver, I was looking at just kind of some of the silver futures, seeing how they were down, and I was just looking at some of those contracts as more of a play for a longer term, thinking that especially with lockdowns, stuff like that happening more, that and with them just being at a low, and I just didn't know if there was any other indicators or things I should look for to know when is the right time to buy.
Well, I don't use indicators. I think they're not really
Or like any
definite.
like just like are there any signs, I guess in general is kind of what I meant.
I've been watching gold and silver for over 10 years, and I have yet to really find something that says this is a definite. What I can tell you is gold and silver are in a bull market. They started from their lows this year and have breached highs. At least gold has. A lot of the miners have breached highs, or some of them, I guess. Newmont has. WPM. So if you want to invest in precious metals, I would say Newmont Mining, Barrick Gold, Wheaton Precious Metals. Those are going to be the three that are the top that I recommend. I wouldn't touch futures or options. I wouldn't touch ETFs. I'd only touch miners because they're the ones that make the biggest moves. Like they make the biggest percent gains. Does that help at all?
Yeah. What'd you say those three symbols were again, or three companies?
GOLD, NEM, and WPM.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. I think GOLD right now is probably the best deal. WPM is still way up from its lows. I mean, COVID lows was $18 and it's still at 41. I'm still 157, 160% up on that play. That's a long-term play for me. So that's probably not the best one to get into unless it falls. Yeah, Newmont's actually pretty up there too. So gold is about the best deal right now. GOLD, that one's probably the best deal frankly.
You're on Thinkorswim right now, right?
Yes.
How did you so like how did you get those support lines and stuff to save every time when you put in a specific symbol, or does it just do that automatically?
It just stays there until I delete it.
Okay. All right.
I think support and resistance are the most important things. And honestly, once you learn how to use those and determine how to find trend, that's really it. I mean, if you can learn how to decipher reversals or see reversals coming, that's huge. Chart patterns such as like wedges, head and shoulders, double tops, stuff like that. Those are very beneficial. And learning candlestick patterns are also very beneficial. But we're talking about a lot of stuff. So I think to keep it simple, learn support, resistance, and trend. Those are going to be your three most important things to know. And once you have that down, then start looking at chart patterns. And if you can determine how to see reversals, that's very hard. I still have yet to hammer that down.
So looking at this chart that you have up, because it's right there at that support level that you have, would you be expecting a flush through that, or are you looking for a
No,
reversal?
I'm thinking right here at 2280 is where we're going to see it bounce.
Okay.
That's a pretty strong support level. I mean, if it breaks through that, man, we're back into a bear market, and I just don't believe for a second that we're in a bear market with having printed trillions of dollars in 1 year. It doesn't make sense to me. Who knows? I mean, like I said, here's the other thing that you should be aware of for precious metals. There's a gold and silver ratio. And what that means is how many ounces of silver does it take to buy an ounce of gold? So I'm getting ready to tell you as soon as I find my app. 77 ounces of silver buys an ounce of gold. Back in 2011, it was at 120 ounces. I'm sorry, no. Go further back before the bull market started, prior to the recession. It was 120 ounces of silver to buy an ounce of gold. Then by 2011, when it hit its peak, it was 40 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. Okay, fast forward to COVID, when COVID happened and dropped the market, it was 130 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. Right now it's at 77 to 1. It won't fall below 90, in my opinion, before it hits 40 again. And what makes that so important is the fact that when gold and silver, or when gold rises, silver rises, right? And when silver rises, it rises in more percentage. So that percentage rise catches that, it shrinks that ratio. And a bear market starts when that ratio hits 40 or less. And the moment it does, now is going to be some pressure to start going downwards. And vice versa, when it hits 115 or higher in ratio, that's when we start seeing a change from bearish to bullish. It might go neutral for a little while, but typically what I've seen in the past 20 years, so back in 98 to 2002, and then 2006 to 2011, and then now. Right, so we've had a bear market since 2011 until COVID this year. Silver had been falling, gold's been falling, the ratio of silver and gold has grown, and it hit 125 this year to 1 ounce of gold. 125 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. And since then, it's been shrinking. I think at the highest, it was 72 to 1. Right now, it's 77. So I think we're going to see it hit 40 to 1, at least. I honestly think we're going to see 35 or 30 to 1 before it decides to start going backwards again. And another word of advice, when it does fall down to 125 again or over 115, that's when you should be buying actual physical, not paper stuff.
Silver, right? You want to go into silver because that's where it has the higher percent.
Higher percent gains, yeah, definitely.
New here. Where do you find the 77 or 72 to 1?
There's an app out there. It's called Teletrader. And it's a little widget you can add on the main market overview. And it's called gold silver ratio. I'll post a photo on my channel. Oops. Okay. Look on right above this voice channel. Mine's the very bottom one. It says Professor Hostile. I didn't make that name, by the way. But you can see the app and the gold silver ratio that I've shown, or circled, I mean. And this actually tells you, this app is really awesome. It tells you, like, what are they called? Like lumber and rice and oats and cocoa and soybeans and hog and corn. And it tells you platinum, palladium, silver, gold, Bitcoin USD, some Forex, US Treasuries, and 10-year notes and 30-year bonds. Shows a bunch of markets across the world, like the Shanghai Stock Exchange, the Japan, the Nikkei, the German, the DAX, and the four main U.S. ones, which is Dow, SPY, Nasdaq, and the composite Nasdaq and Nasdaq 100. I can probably add the Russell in here as well if I wanted. There's a lot, and I think it's really. We even got orange juice. If you can, live cattle, heating oil, natural gas, gas and oil, West Texas Intermediate, UK Brent, copper. You get the point. Lots of cool stuff. And it even has a news, like this is where I read most of my news. There's a news tab. And it's, I think the news on this is not biased. It's just news. It's not BS necessarily. Like, most of the mainstream media, I don't know what to believe anymore when it comes to those guys.